All right. Hey guys, what's up? It is a few days after the NFL draft. I was very fortunate to be able to watch it with Isaac and some of our other boys. It was a better day for Packers fans than Vikings fans, I would say, as Isaac saw my crash out. But yeah, today we're just going to be kind of covering every team's picks, what we think, giving it a grade, and yeah, I also did a little calculation for our first round mock drafts. We kind of had a little competition. I gave us 5 points for the exact pick, 3 points if we got a player to the same team, two if we guessed a player within 3 picks of where they actually went, and one if we just got that player right in the first round. I beat Isaac by 11 points. I had 76 and he had 65. But honestly, I'm not going to hold it over his head because this was an insane draft, man. And no one could really predict anything, to be honest. So I just got kind of lucky. Yeah, but it was crazy. So you want to just get right into it?
I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. It was like Cam said, it was great to have him here. We actually got to talk in
Mm-hmm.
person about this stuff
Oh, it was
instead of
super cool. Yeah.
over a call. So now we get to actually go over each team's draft, and I'm excited because there's some teams that I really did not like, and like, dude, I'm excited to talk about my favorite draft for a specific team because I think I think it what
Okay, yeah, I agree. I've already listened to a bunch of different perspectives, opinions, seen articles. And before we start, I just want to say I kind of do factor in trades, like to the Bengals draft, for example. Like, I will kind of factor the fact that they got Dexter Lawrence. And I will also be very harsh or very kind if I feel that way. I know a lot of people give C's if they don't like drafts. I'll give an F if I don't like a draft. If your team gets a C, they just did average. I know a lot of people think that means they did really bad, but if you get a C, I just think you were fine.
yeah.
Anything worse than that, I thought it was a bad draft, and anything above was good.
So our grades will be a little bit different, I think, because so the way I did it
Probably.
is, I didn't really my lowest grade I gave was a D plus for a draft,
Okay.
and the reason is I don't like to grade really really low because we don't really know like how they're gonna run their scheme or how the players are gonna play in that
For
scheme.
sure.
So I give them a year or two to prove themselves on the team. So my lowest grade won't be probably an F. It'll be a D plus.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't think I have an F either. I mean, I'm thinking about it, there might be. And honestly, this is just off of my initial reaction.
hmm.
If your team has an F, I'm not saying that there's no chance it's
Right,
good. I
right.
could be wrong, and I'll admit to that if I am wrong. It's just off of my rankings, off of how I view these players, and off of how I thought the process went. You can fail or you can exceed with an A. So yeah, let's just start with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
At round one, pick three, they took Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. Round two, pick 34, they picked guard Chase Besantis out of Texas A&M. Round three, pick 65, quarterback Carson Beck out of Miami. Round four, pick 104, defensive tackle Caleb Proctor out of Southeastern Louisiana. Round five, pick 143, Reggie Virgil, wide receiver out of Texas Tech. Round six, pick 183, linebacker Carson Sherrar out of Iowa. And then round seven, pick 217, tackle Jaden Williams out of Ole Miss. Gonna be honest, I gave this draft if I had to think, C minus. I'm kind of coming up with it on the spot, guys, but I kind of had like a range. It's a C minus draft for me. It's slightly below average. I think you could talk me into it being a C or even a D plus, but I'll say C minus is my grade for them.
Yeah, I my favorite pick out of the class was Caleb Proctor for them.
Yeah, which is their fourth round pick.
Which is really sad. I'm not gonna lie. I did we
It's not.
this we were talking. This is why the Cardinals are like perennially bad. Like they just
Yes.
they
Yeah.
continuously pour money into these players, and like Jeremiah Love is going to be the highest paid running back in the NFL now, and like
In guaranteed money by 20 million. Yeah.
played a snap. Like, I'm sorry, Jeremiah Love might be like their elite prospect, but like you can't be paying this type of money to a player that hasn't
Yeah.
at all. And
What was your grade for them?
I graded him a C plus.
Okay.
Like I'm not gonna lie, I only had one grade that was below above a B plus for each of their play. Like I went and graded through each player as well.
Mm.
Draft is it, and like Caleb Proctor, I graded as an A minus. I think that was a good pick. But like every
Yeah.
other pick was like, eh. Like I don't know. I didn't like the Jeremiah Love pick. I didn't like the Chase Besantis pick very much. I didn't like the Reggie Virgil pick as much. Carson, but like any of them were just like, mm. The Caleb Proctor one was fine, but other than that, I wasn't a big fan of the Cardinals overall draft.
Yeah, so I kind of had the same reaction. It was slightly below average for me because I think they got good players at the end of the day, but the process of how they did so was just horrible. I mean, you signed, on their roster, they have Trey Benson. They just paid James Conner, and then they paid Tyler Algier, I believe, 2-year, $10 million. And now you have Jeremiah Love, who's making some of the most money. I mean, their running back room alone is like $60 to $70 million. Like, it's insane. And he's a great player. Like, this was a little rich for me. He was probably hovering around the 10th spot on my big board. And like, I get what Mike LaFleur wants to do with this offense. It's what he wants to do with the Rams, and there's a reality where this works. I actually think it will work. I think their offense will be fine when they get their quarterback next year. But the money they put into this and the positional value of getting this player at pick 3 when there was other better players on the board at more important positions and they are a bad roster, I just don't like. And I'm going to be honest, like their rounds 1 through 3 are heavily swaying my grades, so I don't like that. Basantis, I get you need a guard. I never really liked Basantis that much. This was super rich for me. I actually kind of like the Carson Beck pick. I don't hate it. There is serious questions on his health, but if he's healthy, I actually think he can be fine for them. But it's obvious that they're taking for a quarterback next year, so I don't know why you take him with the first pick of the 3rd round. I mean, this is almost a 2nd round pick. Your roster's so bad that if you're just going to tank for your quarterback, like you're taking your backup quarterback, like what do we, because I think Carson Beck's a fine starter, but there's no way they think this is their quarterback of the future, especially with how they drafted. Their whole, I like the player. The process is just confusing to me. So because of that, it's a C.
I get
Yeah.
maybe they think we could see if Carson Beck somehow becomes a good quarterback and then we don't have to use our top pick next year on a quarterback. But
Sure.
my thing is I really don't see that potential in Carson Beck, and using that, like you said, that early 3rd pick on a Carson Beck to be probably your backup just doesn't seem smart to me.
Yeah.
I don't mind Carson Beck as a player, but yeah, I just don't think it's a good fit for him on the Cardinals, especially when they're probably going to not be great this year and they're going to pick a high quarterback next year. That just doesn't make sense.
For sure. So yeah, you had a C plus, I had a C minus.
Yeah.
I'm a little where you seem to be a little more positive, so we probably actually think about it this exact same.
Right.
But yeah, whatever. You want to talk about the Falcons now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so you can go through the picks.
Yeah, so the Falcons did not have a first-round pick. They traded theirs to the Rams last year. So with their first pick in the draft, it was round 2, pick 48. They picked Avian Terrell, brother of A.J. Terrell from Clemson, corner. In round 3, pick 79, they took Zachariah Branch, wide receiver from Georgia. Round 4, pick 134, they picked Kendall Daniels, linebacker out of Oklahoma. Round 6, pick 208, they picked Ontario Thompson, defensive tackle. Round 6, pick 215, they picked Harold Perkins, a linebacker out of LSU. And with their last pick, round 7, pick 231, they picked Ethan Oniawana. I think that's how you say it. Tackle.
Onianwa.
Onianwa out of Ohio State. So yeah, I honestly gave this draft a B+. I liked what they did with these picks. Avian Terrell, I think they got for good value. I get that there might have been a little bit of nepotism there because they already had AJ. But yeah. I do actually like them picking up Avian Terrell. I think he could have went earlier than this, and they needed defensive backs. So I think they got a pretty good corner in Avian Terrell at pick 48. Zachariah Branch, I know I was higher on him than you pre-draft. I think this is a pretty good scheme fit. I think if he can play that wide receiver 2 or 3 behind Drake London and play slot, I think he actually could find success on this Falcons offense. And then, I mean, the back end of the draft for them was not amazing. I think the front 2 picks kind of carried him a little bit. Didn't mind Harold Perkins. I think that was a solid pick. Kendall Daniels, I think they fell for a little bit of the hype. I don't know if he was there was those few clips online that that hyped him up, and I don't know if he was really that amazing to be a 4th rounder, but not a bad pick. And then Ethan
Onianwa. I know something about him.
A solid pick in the 7th round, but I'd like to hear what you have.
So I gave them a C+ because I think they did just fine. Avian Terrell is my second corner in this draft, and I think that's a fine pick. It makes sense. It's a cool story, but outside of that, they didn't really move the needle that much for me. I did not like Zachariah Branch at all. I think actually this is the best team he could go to off the top of my head, and it's still I don't like where they picked him. I think he should have been a 4th or a 5th rounder. He's just simply not big enough to take the defense off of London like they needed. Kendall Daniels is fine. Ontario Thompson, I believe, was never really that good of a player, but just a super big RAS guy. Perkins, I actually don't mind if they can find a way to use him. He's a great athlete, elite athlete. And if they just get him in like NASCAR blitz packages, fine. And Onianwa in the 7th round is intriguing. He was one of the top transfer people in the transfer portal like a year ago coming out of Rice. Transferred to Ohio State. He did not play at all this year, was just a backup for them, but his Rice tape looked really good. So if you think you can tap into that, I mean, obviously Ohio State has just elite starters everywhere. I don't mind that pick, but it's a C plus for me just because with your 2 value picks, I love Terrell, but I just think Branch is great, to be honest. And they didn't really do anything else to move the needle for me. So it's just slightly above average.
That's fair, yeah. I think the biggest swing for us here is that I like Zachariah Branch a little bit more than you, and when you don't like Zachariah Branch as much, obviously this draft is going to look a lot worse on paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yes. So the Ravens in round 1, pick 14, they took guard Olavega Owane from Penn State. Round 2, pick 45, they took edge Zion Young out of Missouri. Round 3, pick 80, wide receiver Jacoby Lane out of USC. Round 4, pick 115, wide receiver Elijah Surratt out of Indiana. Round 4, pick 133, took tight end Matthew Hibner out of SMU. Round 5, pick 162, corner Chandler Rivers out of Duke. Round 5, pick 173, tight end Josh Suavis out of Alabama. Round 5, pick 174, running back Adam Randall out of Clemson. Round 6, pick 211, punter Ryan Eckley out of Michigan State. Round 7, pick 250, defensive tackle Rayshawn Benny out of Michigan. And then with their last pick, round 7, pick 253, guard Evan Bernstein out of Northwestern. It was a huge class for them. Yeah, so for me, they are going to get, just kind of looking it over, I like a ton of their picks. I think they got a ton of value too with the Elijah Surratt pick, the Chandler Rivers pick. I don't even mind the Suavis and the Benny pick. I would give them honestly, they did everything I think they needed to and then got players that I did not think would be available at those positions. So what did you give them?
I gave them a B+.
Close, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Great value in the 4th round at pick 115. I also really like Jacoby Lane. I think he's a little underrated. I think in the 3rd round, I think is solid for him. So they got back-to-back really solid wide receivers in the 3rd and 4th round. Zion Young at 45, I think he could have been a 1st rounder. So I think
that's such a good man. That is like exactly what they need at edge. That's so good they got him there. I don't love Zion Young, but like this was his team. If he was gonna go anywhere, it would be here. And to come away with exactly what you need at guard with Ione and exactly what you need at edge and Zion Young, that's just elite work from Eric DeCosta, man. I love that. Pretty good.
I didn't mind the Hibner pick. That's okay. I really like the Suavis pick. I think getting him at the back end of the 5th round was good. I think my least favorite pick for them was Adam Randall, which apparently was like a pick for by their offensive coordinator, was it?
No, their owner.
Or by their owner.
Their owner wanted him really badly.
And to me,
yeah, he's kind of just a worse Derrick Henry. Like he is that size and that athleticism, but he's just not good.
Isn't he supposed to be more?
I think so, but like that's kind of what Derrick Henry does a little bit of everything. I mean, I know he's not as much of a receiver, but
I mean, anyway, I didn't really like the Adam Randall pick, but Rayshawn Benny in the 7th round, I feel like
I have no idea why he fell.
I feel like that's really good value, but like overall,
that's great value.
11 players, and I only see 2 misses that I would say, and I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the Ravens draft. I'd give it a B+.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Because, like, I didn't love Jacoby Lane, but, like, if you just swap the Surratt and the Lane pick, it's, like, fine to me. So, like, it's an A-. It might even be higher than that for me, like, when I really think about it, because, like, I'm not really sure what they could have done better. They got great depth in the back end of the class, and with their first 2 picks, I mean, they got 2 great starters, and Surratt, I think, could be a really good receiver for this team. But A-, on to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep. Another really big class.
1st round pick either. They traded out 3 times. So they went back to round 2, pick 35, and their first pick was TJ Parker, edge out of Clemson. Their second pick was also in the 2nd round, round 2, pick 62. They traded up for Davison Igbinosun, corner out of Ohio State. At Round 4, 102, they pick Jude Bowery, tackle out of Boston College. Round 4, pick 125, they got Skylar Bell, wide receiver out of UConn. In round 4, the pick after at 126, they got Caleb Elams-Orr, linebacker out of TCU. In round 5, pick 167, they got Jalen Kilgore, safety slash slot corner out of South Carolina. Round 5, they got round 5, pick 181, they got Zane Durant, defensive tackle out of Penn State. Round 7, pick 220, they got Toriano Pride, corner out of Missouri. Round 7, pick 239, they got punter Tommy Doman Jr. out of Florida. And with their last pick at pick 241, they got Armaj Reed Adams, guard out of Texas A&M. And I'm going to be the first to say it, this is my favorite draft class out of every.
Yeah, yep, this is an A+ draft for me.
This is
Like,
an A for me. I
Yeah.
really love this class. I mean, like, dude, Brandon Beane, I know we make fun of him, but he
no, Brandon Beane, I don't know if we've ever talked about this on here, is like notoriously my least favorite GM. Like, I do not like Brandon Beane at all. Like, horrible. Dude, this is like a masterpiece. This
Really?
what he did was like, this is like the Mona Lisa of drafting. And before we get into it, I do have a question. Do we want to just, since you have them on the you have the draft class on the screen for them, right? Do we not want to say the numbers and just say the players? Because that's kind of a lot with some of these classes, if they can see the pick anyways. Because otherwise it's a ton to read off. Like if we say like round 5 pick 181.
What do you mean? I'm confused.
Like instead of saying round 2 pick 35 TJ Parker edge Clemson, you want to just say TJ Parker edge Clemson?
Oh yeah, we get that. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because it's just a lot. Sorry, but yeah, no, A+ draft for me. They killed it. I mean, like, you come away, they traded back twice, which me and you were making fun of because we thought it was going to be in typical Brandon Beane fashion. Trade back, and then you take your Keon Coleman bust pick. There was better players available. Dude, they traded back however many spots, got multiple 5th-round picks, and you still walk away with TJ Parker, who was one of my favorite players in this draft and is exactly what they need.
It was an A+ pick for
That's an elite pick. Yeah. The process, too, literally could not be better. Davison Igbinosun's probably the worst pick of their draft, like, just off of where they took him. But I don't even hate it. Like, I kind of like it.
I like that pick.
So that's their worst pick. They didn't pick till the like, dude, they didn't have a 1st-round pick, and then they didn't pick till the 4th round, and they picked up multiple starters. Jude Bowery was one of my favorite late tackles / O-linemen in this class, because I think he has, like, great starting upside. Like, I really, really like Jude Bowery. Skylar Bell, obviously, was, like, my 4th receiver or my 3rd receiver? Like,
yeah, but still, like,
something like that. Like, dude, this guy could be their 1 almost. And, like, you get him in the 4th round. I have no idea why he fell. Like, there was way worse receivers that went over him, but whatever. You get Jalen Kilgore, who is, if you need that role for him, a elite player. And then, like, even, like, Armaj Reed Adams, good depth at guard.
Pick, yeah.
Zane Durant, good depth at defensive tackle. Caleb Elams-Orr, I don't love it, but, like, at linebacker, it's not horrid. But, like, dude, you added more starters than I think almost anyone else in the draft in the 5th and 4th round without a 1st, and the way they operated in getting some of these picks. I mean, they traded back to get TJ Parker, and with those picks, like, added, like, Jalen Kilgore and Skylar Bell, you know, with some of those picks that allowed them to take these players. What an elite process. I tip my cap to Brandon Beane. He might be turning a new leaf. I mean, damn.
Leave my eyes, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you said, he got Jalen Kilgore was my 4th safety.
Yeah. And at that pick, man.
Yeah, TJ Parker, I had us like 20 on my big board, and they got him at 35 after trading back 3 times. Davison Igbinosun, yeah, they traded up for him into the 2nd round, which like isn't the best, but he's still a good player, and I think in that system he could definitely thrive. And like you said, Jude Bowery, that's a starting level tackle. They got him in the 4th round. Like, yeah, like seriously, I even think Armaj Reed Adams could start, honestly. I don't think he's that bad of a guard, and I think if you put him in and develop him a little bit, I think he could probably start at some point.
That's what I'm saying. He was good depth, yeah.
So yeah, excellent draft from Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I was looking through this class and I'm like, good lord, he absolutely cooked. I didn't.
No, he really did. He really did. Yeah, but you want to talk about the Panthers?
Yeah.
So the Panthers they took tackle Monroe Freeling out of Georgia, defensive tackle Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech, wide receiver Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee, corner Will Lee out of A&M, center Sam Hecht out of Kansas State, safety Zachy Wheatley out of Penn State, and linebacker Jackson Kuwach out of Miami of Ohio. I gave the Panthers a C+.
Okay.
What about you?
I gave him a B+. I actually liked all but 2 picks in their class.
Okay. So my thing on the Panthers is this is my second favorite team. Love Bryce Young, obviously Bama, just like the Panthers. I just think they did slightly above average. I don't hate it. I just wish they did more. Monroe Freeling is fine. I mean, he's a developmental tackle who has elite upside. So him sitting behind Rasheed Walker and then potentially filling in for Icky if he gets super injured again in the future. I don't hate it. He's probably not going to have to start full time this year. I just think there was probably slightly better value at 19 than somebody who's going to sit for a year. But if you need your tackles, go get them, I guess. Lee Hunter, I don't love. I don't like Lee Hunter at all. And I believe they traded up for him. They did with Minnesota, actually. This is not who I want next to Derek Brown. Just straight up. I did not want this guy in our interior. So your first 2 picks are just to me. Chris Brazzell. Yeah.
Do you remember on the couch, we were sitting watching the draft, and I was like, please take Lee Hunter, please take Lee Hunter.
Yes, because you did not want the Packers to take him, yes.
If he fell to us, we rejoiced. I was so happy.
Yeah. Brazzell, not a big Brazzell guy. I think there was better receivers available. I would have rather had Skylar Bell a million times. I would have rather had Elijah Surratt a million times over. So their first 3 picks were just kind of below average. But then it's funny because I kind of like their next 3 picks actually a lot. Will Lee, the blanket, awesome corner depth to potentially maybe be your third or even second corner. I think you get a starting center in Sam Hecht. Honestly, I thought he was probably either the first or second best center in this class, and you get him in the 5th round. And then Zachy Wheatley, I get he's 25, and I get he's never been elite, but solid safety depth, maybe can be a rotational starter in the 5th round. I don't hate that. So I give it a C+ because I just think it's slightly above average, and I see their plan, but I just feel like they could have wowed me a little more. Any thoughts you had?
Yeah, I think I gave him a B+. I like Chris Brazzell a little bit more than you. I think Freeling is really solid. I think I heard he was supposed to go earlier and they got him at 19. I was actually kind of dumbfounded the Lions didn't take him at 17. They took
Blake Miller.
They took Blake Miller over him, which was kind of surprising to me. But we'll talk about that in a second. But I actually do like Monroe Freeling at 19. I think that's a pretty solid pick. Chris Brazzell, I like at 83. I think he could have went earlier. So my only 2 picks that I didn't really like for them were Lee Hunter and then Jackson Kuwach. Those were the 2 picks I was like, nah. But every other pick, I think they did really well with. For only having 7 picks, I think they hit on 5 of them, in my opinion, so I gave them a B+. But I can completely understand the C+ when you don't really like Chris Brazzell as much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, the Chicago Bears. The probable Super Bowl champs next year. They actually have a better chance than a lot of teams, I will say that. I think they will be, too.
Their draft class, they took Dylan Thieneman, safety out of Oregon, Logan Jones,
God
center
damn it!
out of Iowa, Sam Roush, tight end out of Stanford, Xavier Thomas, wide receiver out of LSU, Malik Muhammad, corner out of Texas, Keyshawn Elliott, linebacker out of Arizona State, and Jordan Vandenberg, defensive tackle out of Georgia. Yeah, unfortunately, this class was good. I gave it an A-.
Okay.
Dylan Thieneman and Logan Jones, those are home runs in the first 2 rounds. I think those are great picks. Sam Roush, I don't get it, but I'm thinking they probably are going to run a 3 tight end set. And if they do, I think Sam Roush is an excellent pickup in the 3rd round. He's a really good athlete. Really, the only pick I didn't like was Xavier Thomas. I thought that pick was not good in the slightest. In the 3rd round, I don't think he probably should have gotten taken in the top 5 rounds. So, and they snagged him in the 3rd round, and I did not like that. But other than that, Malik Muhammad, good depth pickup. I think he could even work his way into the corner 3, corner 2 if he develops well enough. And Keyshawn Elliott, I think he could have been an early 4th rounder, and he went in the late 5th. So I think that was really good value as well. I like this draft, unfortunately. As a Packers fan, I do not like that the Bears had a good draft here. Dylan Thieneman was probably a top 2 pick in the 1st round. It was either him or Ruben Payne.
Oh, yeah, in terms of value. Yeah.
I think that he was either the 1st or 2nd most valuable pick in the 1st round. But yeah, I'd like to hear what you have, because you kind of you got surprised when I said A-. So
well, because I get it. I see your perspective. Personally, for me, I gave them just a B. It's a good draft. I will say there are picks here that confuse me, but they do get a little grace from me because I think Ben Johnson is probably one of the smartest coaches in the league. So I believe he has a plan for these picks. Thieneman, man, him and Kobe Bryant are going to be an elite safety duo. Like that, it's gonna be scary to be honest. And yeah, I wanted the Vikings to take this guy so bad. That's a great pick for me, but he kind of carries his draft. That's just like the perfect team for him, honestly. Like I think it's great. Logan Jones, I think they took a little too high, but it kind of sounds like a ton of teams really like Logan Jones. So if they wanted him, like I don't hate it. Sam Roush to me as at the top of the third as your third string tight end. I don't love it. I see what they're doing if they want to run 3 tight end sets, and I get that Cole Kmet's probably not on the team next year. But like, I just am not a big fan of taking third stringers at the top of the third round. And then Xavier Thomas is like, yeah, I hate it. Like he's their wide receiver 4 or 5, probably their 5. Like you drafted a special teamer, in the third round after not doing your other one right? Whatever. True. I actually do like the Malik Muhammad pick, though. Like, I think he could be a really, really good corner for them. The Keyshawn Elliott pick is great depth. And Jordan Vandenberg was actually, like, probably Georgia Tech's best defensive player off the top of my head. So, like, that's not a bad pick in the 6th round either. But it's a B. Like, it's not like I hate it. I just don't think it's elite because I really question their 3rd-round picks. I think they could have gotten so much more value, to be honest. And then overall, it was just solid. But, yeah, I feel like with what they did in free agency and the draft, they're a good team next year. Yeah, Cincinnati now.
Bengals, yeah.
Is it my turn or your turn?
Yep.
I think it's my turn, right? Okay, so they took a Cassius Howell edge out of Texas A&M, Takario Davis, corner out of Washington, Connor Lew, center out of Auburn, Colby Young, wide receiver out of Georgia, Brian Parker, center/guard out of Duke, Jack Endries, tight end out of Texas, and then Landon Robinson, defensive tackle out of Navy. Looking at this class, honestly, this was one of my more favorite classes, especially when you consider the fact that they got, why am I blanking on his name? Dexter Lawrence. Like, to me, this is an A- class. I kind of just like everything they did here, man. There was not anybody that would have compared to the caliber of player Dexter Lawrence is at the 10th overall pick. And it was a position of need they needed the most. Like, the first defensive tackle was Caleb Banks, and then the second at 18, and the second was Peter Woods at 29. He's just so much better of a player than any of those guys. And getting him at 10, like, we've had this conversation. I think the Bengals think they're contenders, and they are probably right. So you go grab him. You get Cassius Howell, which is exactly what they need, juice off the edge. I love that pick. Takario Davis was probably overdrafted, but I actually kind of like Takario Davis, so I don't hate this. And then they get elite value from Connor Lew in the back of the 4th. Like, that's pretty damn good. I think he could be a starter if he comes back from his injury. Colby Young, not a big fan of, but like Brian Parker, great depth on the O-line.
Oh, yeah.
He can play multiple positions. Jack Endries, no idea how he fell to the 7th with how tight ends were going in this class, but like I think Jack Endries could have been like a 3rd-round pick, honestly, probably more like a 4th. Yeah, and he was like the 20th or 21st tight end taken, so that's insane. But I like everything they did, man. The Bengals had probably one of the best off seasons out of any team, and this is an A- to me because I like virtually every pick outside of Colby Young, and I think they reached a little on Takario Davis, but like I even get that pick. So what do you think about him?
Yeah, I gave it a B+. I really like this draft. I think they did a great on that pick after, like, he's going to be a game wrecker.
Well, they're like the same player, funnily enough.
They literally are.
Like, they literally are.
They're very similar. And then Takario Davis, like you said, a little bit of a reach, but I like his length. I like how he plays. I think he's a Bengals type of corner. Connor Lew was an amazing pick. I mean, A+.
Yeah.
They got him in the 4th round. He's probably the best center in this class, and they got him in the 4th round. So if he's able to heal from his injury and develop into that starting center for them, that would be great value. Colby Young, I don't mind. He's more of like a wide receiver 3 or 4. I think he has some upside. Apparently, some guys that know him a little bit more compare him to young T. Higgins. I don't see it, like his play style. So maybe that's why the Bengals took him in the 4th. And then, yeah, Brian.
2 T. Higgins sounds good to me.
Yeah, that would be great. Brian Parker, great depth at the O-line position. Jack Endries, like we talked about, I think he probably was a top 5 tight end in this class, fell to the 7th round. And even Landon Robinson, I mean, I saw mocks of him going in like the 4th or 5th round. They got him in the 7th. That you can have him
Solid
sit
depth.
behind you can have him sit behind Dexter Lawrence and maybe he'll develop into
Hmm.
a DT. You never know. But yeah, great draft from the Bengals. Did everything they really needed to do. Addressed a lot of defense, a lot of O line. Try to protect Joe Burrow and make your defense not the worst in the league, and they could be a really good team this year. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You want to talk about the Browns now?
yeah. So the Browns, they grabbed Spencer Fano, who will probably play guard for them out of Utah. They got Casey Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Denzel Boston, wide receiver out of Washington. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, safety out of Toledo. Austin Barber, tackle out of Florida. Parker Brailsford, center out of Alabama. Justin Jefferson, Vikings wide receiver, no, linebacker out of Alabama. Joe Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati. Taylon Green, quarterback out of Arkansas. And Carson Ryan, tight end out of BYU. I thought they did pretty well. I gave them an A minus. I think this
Uh,
is a good class.
I think this is an A plus. Along with the Bills, like this was every pick. I loved every pick. I thought they got elite starters at the top, great starters in the middle, and then even really good depth to potential starters in the end. 100%. Well, yeah, they got my second wide receiver and then one of my elite wide receiver twos who will play wide receiver 3.
Yes.
Like, dude, their wide receiver room is revitalized. It's completely different.
Completely revamped their wide receiver room. Emmanuel McNeil Warren at the back end of the second is unreal. That is
Great value if they can develop him.
I think
Yes.
that-
Austin Barber, like, I really like him as a developmental tackle.
Justin Jefferson, I think, is a good linebacker. I think he could develop. Even Carson Ryan in the 7th, I think he's an
Royer,
tight end
yeah.
prospect. And Taylon Green, I mean, that's a solid pick. I don't know about the 6th round, but not horrible. I think overall, yeah, they did a really good job with this draft.
They did. Yeah, when you get an A plus for me, the way I look at it is you completely elevated your team into that next tier. Like, I think the Bills after this draft are a Super Bowl contender now. I think they were just on the edge, but I think they're a Super Bowl contender. I think the Browns took themselves from one of the worst teams in the league to, if Shador Sanders or Deshaun Watson can be competent for them, I think they could potentially win the playoffs. I think their division, or not win the playoffs, but be in the playoffs. Their division is wide open enough that I think it's the Bengals or I think it's the Browns, honestly. And you grabbed so many guys that are going to be difference makers from day one. And I mean, like, their offensive line was horrid. It's now pretty damn decent.
Yeah.
Their wide receiver room was horrid. I now really like it. Like,
Yeah.
one of my more favorite ones in the league.
It's quite good, yeah.
Yeah, and then they add great depth at tight end. Justin Jefferson's a solid linebacker to add. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I mean, if they can develop him right, man, this is
a damn good class.
This is a very damn good class. So they get an A plus for me. I really liked what Cleveland did. This is the draft they needed to get out of this hell that they've been in for a long time. And that's funny. Do you want to talk about the Cowboys now, or do you have anything else to say on the Browns?
Yeah, no, I definitely like what the Browns did. I think, like you said, I think they definitely could elevate to at least better than last year with this class. I think as long as Shador or Deshaun Watson is able to put together a decent season, I think they're...
I agree. Their defense is so damn good.
They could be dangerous.
Yes.
But yeah, to the Cowboys.
Yeah. These drafts isn't it mine? I think. Don't I say it? Didn't you just say the Browns? Yeah, you did. I think. So yeah, they took Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State, Malachi Lawrence, edge out of UCF, Jayshawn Barham, edge/linebacker out of Michigan, Drew Shelton, tackle out of Penn State, Devin Moore, corner out of Florida, LT Overton, edge out of Alabama, and Anthony Smith, wide receiver out of East Carolina. I'm just gonna be honest. This was very, very close to another A plus draft for me. This was an A draft. What did you give it?
I gave it a B plus. I was a little bit lower after I kind of looked at it a little bit, just because I really loved the Caleb Downs pick, really loved the Devin Moore pick. Those picks are amazing. I mean,
man, bro. It's the year 2020. Brandon Beane and Jerry Jones are somehow coming out of the draft as the two smartest, maybe owners/GMs. I did not think there was a world in hell where the Cowboys would get Caleb Downs.
I told Alex before the draft, I was like, "There's no way."
Yes, this was probably the most elite fit out of any player in the draft. Like, if you would have told me what elite player fits onto a good team and completes that team, it's Caleb Downs in the middle of the Cowboys defense. This is ridiculous. Like, he instantly makes a weakness a strength. Like honestly, he is. I mean, man, he's a franchise caliber. Like he changes franchises. That's the caliber of player he is. He's just a safety, so this is why he fell. And elite work from Jerry Jones to trade up and go get their guy to jump the Dolphins. It was so worth it. The 2/5 to move up a spot. I don't care. You got one of the best, if not the best, player in this draft at an elite scheme fit. Malachi Lawrence, I was like 100% sure this guy was going to be a first round pick. Didn't think he'd go this high, but I kind of like it, man. On this team, this is a great player. They play in the same division as Jackson Dart, Jaden Daniels. Who's the third team? Why am I blanking? Oh, and Jalen Hurts. All Russian quarterbacks. This is a stand up, read and react guy who has that elite athleticism and speed to hold the edge and contain these Russian quarterbacks. I mean, this guy is going to help their team in 6 games every year minimum. And I like this pick. I mean, what was your opinions on Lawrence? Do you like this?
Yeah, I gave the Lawrence pick a B+. I really liked it. I think it was a little bit rich for me, but like you just said, I mean, this is a good scheme fit for him. In this division, like, he's going to have to hold that edge against these mobile quarterbacks, and like you said, I think he can do that. And I think that's kind of, like, if I had to guess, I think that's probably why the Cowboys picked him at this spot. Like,
oh, yeah.
Need an edge to be able to hold these mobile quarterbacks in the pocket, and Malachi Lawrence is that player, and he's still relatively young, and they could probably develop him into a better edge in this league. But yeah, I like the pick. Yeah, like I said, I really like the Devin Moore pick. I thought the Drew.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
The Devin Moore pick was unreal.
Yeah.
In the 4th round, you're getting a really high upside corner.
Yeah.
A pick.
Great depth.
I thought the Drew Shelton pick was pretty average. I don't know if they needed.
So the Drew Shelton and the Jaysean Barham pick are the reasons this is not an A+ for me. But the fact that they killed it with Devin Moore, and I honestly love the LT Overton fit, like, that's what brings it up to an A for me. But man, I mean, I'm going to be real. I don't think there was a reality in which the average NFL fan thought that the Cowboys would trade Micah Parsons and walk away with it, not just feeling good, but feeling great. Because obviously Micah Parsons is a great player. But I mean, they completely revamped their D-line, and they get Caleb Downs, who is probably going to be one of the top 3 safeties in the league in 2 years, maybe even this year. So they swapped a generational player for a generational player. I honestly get that the position value is different, but all the other stuff they got, man, Jerry, he kind of killed this, man. I really, really like this draft. So
after this draft, honestly, the Micah Parsons trade was kind of a win-win. Like,
I agree, 100%.
The Packers got a great edge rusher,
like elite, yes,
really good,
yes.
But yeah,
and I don't want to hear no Cowboys fans complain about Jerry Jones after this. This was a masterpiece, man. You got to give this dude at least a year or 2 before you cook his ass.
Caleb Downs was just an amazing. I remember, we're sitting in B-dubs, and he just kept falling, and somehow the Cowboys, Jerry Jones woke up from his coma and traded to grab him. Yeah. But yeah, Cowboys did really well this draft.
Yeah. So we have the Broncos now. I believe it is your turn to talk about it.
The Broncos took Tyler Onyedim, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M, Jonah Coleman, running back out of Washington, Cage Casey, tackle out of Boise State, Justin Joly, tight end out of NC State, Miles Scott, safety out of Illinois, Dallin Bentley, tight end out of Utah, and they got Mr. Irrelevant, Red Murdoch, linebacker out of Buffalo. I was not a fan of this draft.
Me neither. What'd you give him?
I gave it a C.
Okay, I gave this draft a D+. Just don't think they came away with really any starters or really any solid depth either.
Like, they got a starter in this entire...
No, and I get it. You know, you didn't have a 1st or a 2nd round pick, and it's because you traded for Jalen Waddle. But I'm going to be honest, I don't even really love the Waddle move enough for that to help this. Like, I know we talked about how it factored in the Dexter Lawrence, but I don't know. The Waddle did not move the needle enough. And then, like, the fact that their favorite player for me is probably Justin Joly in the 5th is like, dude, that's not good.
Honestly,
that's not good.
For me, it might be Red Murdoch, bro.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Tyler Onyedim as your 1st pick in this draft, dude, not good. Sorry, not good.
For all the overlays, I put a picture of, like, the first player they took, and the fact that I had to put Tyler Onyedim on that is actually kind of crazy.
Son, you also had to put Nate Borkiker, which we'll get to later.
Yeah, no, I know. Dude, yeah.
Was there even a picture of him? That's my question. Yeah. Coleman is, I mean, you probably get a little value here, but like I don't think he's good enough to start over Dobbins or RJ Harvey. So I don't really like this is your second pick and you're drafting your RB3. Casey's fine if you can develop him. It's just this draft doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me, like at all. Like really at all. And for a team that I think is going to get worse next year anyways, they just did really mid in the draft and it's like, I don't know. Don't really like it. Not a fan. I don't really have anything else to say, to be honest. That's just. Do you have anything on this?
Yeah, Tyler Onyedim was your first pick. I think we can leave it at that.
Yeah. So the Lions, they took Blake Miller, tackle out of Clemson, Derek Moore, edge out of Michigan, Jimmy Rolder, linebacker out of Michigan, Keith Abney, corner out of Arizona State, Kendrick Law, wide receiver out of Kentucky, Skylar Gill Howard, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech, and Tyree West, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. I also did not like this class. I gave it a C minus. Not a fan. What about you?
I flirted between a C plus and a B minus. I
Okay.
ended up giving him a B minus, but I wasn't
Okay.
I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, Blake Miller, not a big fan of. I think he's just super high floor. And do you really take that at 17?
No.
The funny thing for me is it forces Penei Sewell to move away from his natural position. He's forced to now play left tackle because Blake Miller is purely a right tackle. And it's like, damn, he's already not that good. You take him at 17, and now you force your star player to potentially be uncomfortable. Okay. Derek Moore, I don't mind. It's not a horrible pick. I don't love it either. Rolder is whatever. Abney's probably their best pick of the draft, but I'm not really sure how much he even fits into this team. Like, they already have Tyrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw. Like, I know they have other corners too, where I'm like, I mean, I get it. It's the fifth round. Clearly, the NFL didn't like Keith Abney that much, but I don't even really like the scheme fit for their best player. And then, like, the rest of their picks were just Skylar Gill Howard, I actually like a decent amount, but to me, it's just C minus. Like Blake Miller, it's just meh. It's just slightly below average.
The Blake Miller pick, I was looking at it, and the more I looked at it, I was like, why did they take him? They could have taken
Ionicher, Freeling,
even Freeling. Like Blake.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the pick. Derek Moore, I did actually like. I think that was a pretty good pick for them. I gave it an A minus at 44. But yeah, like for me, like they went like D pick, A pick, C pick, A pick. Like they just like hit or miss. Like I don't know, it was just pretty average to me, and I gave it a B minus. I almost gave it a C plus, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt.
That's fair. I just think Detroit has been consistently declining as a team, and man, they really needed to do something to stop that and get back on track. And I don't think they moved the needle for me at all. So I think they will continue this decline and potentially, if I had to guess, probably be the worst team in the division again. Yeah. So yeah, now we get to the Packers class, which worked out perfectly because you get to talk about it.
Did not have a first round pick, traded for Micah Parsons. So our first pick was at 52. We took Brandon Cisse, corner out of South Carolina. Then we took Chris McClellan, defensive tackle out of Missouri. Deni Dennis Sutton, defensive edge out of Penn State. Jagger Burton, center / guard out of Kentucky. Monty Jackson, corner out of Alabama. And we traded up for Trey Smack, the best kicker in the draft out of Florida. I like it. I gave it a B plus, unbiased. I think it actually was one of Gute's better classes, honestly.
I agree. They took away his first round pick and he didn't shit the bed.
He didn't do horrible with his first round pick because he didn't have it. So yeah. I was pleasantly surprised with Gute's drafting this year. I think Brandon Cisse was an excellent second round pick. Like that was like me and you were sitting on the couch and I was chanting Brandon Cisse for like the last for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you were.
And he took Brandon Cisse. And
yes.
Then Deni Dennis Sutton, I saw a lot of mocks having us taking him in the third round, which I thought for sure was rich, but I think the fourth round was actually solid.
Pretty solid. Rashawn Gary replacement, honestly.
Replacement. He will probably be a starter for the first few weeks because we don't have. And Jagger Burton, I think, is solid in the fifth round. I think we can play him at center, play him at guard. I think he will be a backup at first, but I think we could develop him into a starter eventually. And my favorite pick, like, what am I trying to say?
Value or fit, scheme fit?
Like value-wise, I think Damani Jackson was a great pick in the sixth round.
Yeah, I hate this pick for the wrong reasons, I guess. Yeah.
I really like what you did there with Damani Jackson at the in the middle of the sixth round. I had been scouting him for a little bit just because he was like always in the area of our 6th round pick, and I like him.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad we picked him up. And then trading up for Trace Mack was a pleasant surprise as well. We need kickers. Our kickers suck, and we got the best one in the class. So I'm overall happy. I gave it a B plus.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, man. I gave it a B. I think not having a first round pick is hard for me to give it anything higher than that, really. And they made some questionable moves, but overall, man, they added with what they had. I thought they did really well. Cisse is probably in a few years going to be looked at as very hit or miss, but I think the Packers, I know they're not great at developing corners, but they usually get the best out of later round picks and, just their picks in general. Yeah, Cisse, man, if he works on his footwork, this is a really, really good outside corner, which is exactly what the Packers need. McClellan, I'm not a huge fan of the pick, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of with Denise Sutton. I really don't think either of them are like elite picks, but, you just needed some work on this line. Burton, if you can develop him, I think is solid. Domani Jackson is obviously was one of my favorite players personality-wise in this draft from Bama. I mean, I think he was like the 5th overall recruit out of his high school class, like super, super big name on a USC. Never really worked out. And at Bama, he was never a starter, but I mean, we have like probably the best DB room in the entire country. So, when he played, he was pretty good, I thought. And I think the talent's there to unlock. So you get this player in the 6th, man, like he could potentially be a starter for you. I'm never a big fan of trading up or drafting special teamers really at all. But I mean, Trace Mack was fine enough that it's like, it's not egregious. Like, I'm not going to knock him off that bad. But I think it's a B. It's above average because I think they get a caliber of player in Cisse that could potentially be a starter at a pick that I did not really think there was going to be that caliber of player available. So, yeah, they did a pretty decent job for not having much. And now we have Houston. They took Keelan Rutledge, guard out of Georgia Tech. Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Tight end Marlon Klein out of Michigan. Fibichi Nwanwu, guard out of Oklahoma. Wade Woodaz, linebacker out of Clemson. Kamari Ramsey, safety out of USC. Lewis Bond, wide receiver out of Boston College. And Aiden Fisher, linebacker out of Indiana. At first sight, I really, really hated this draft. And then I looked at it a little bit, and I still hate this draft, but just not as much. This is hard because they walk away with good players, but I just think they could have operated so much better and gotten way more value out of their picks. And they have some of the worst picks in this class, too, that I kind of have to give them a D. I wanted to give them, maybe, it's probably actually more like of a D plus because I think Caden McDonald is a really good player and they ended up getting him. But like, I know when we watched this draft, initially their first couple of picks, we were like, this is like F. And I did a little thinking on it. I want to hear what you have to think. I thought it was a D plus.
I gave it a D plus too, so we're on the same wavelength.
Okay.
And the only reason this isn't an F for me is Caden McDonald. I would have given this an F if it wasn't for Caden McDonald. That pick was awesome. I think that completely made
it
for their first 4 rounds. Keelan Rutledge.
I think he's a 3rd round guard that they took
yes,
in the first.
I agree.
I will say, I looked into this pick a little more. He fits their scheme like perfectly. Like that's so, I kind of get it, but like, dude, I don't know.
To take
they traded up too. Yeah, that's
guard and in the 1st round, and then in the 2nd round they took Marlon Klein as the 3rd overall or 4th overall tight end in this class. And like, dude, this dude is not worthy of a 2nd round pick. Then in the 4th round they take Fibichi Nwanwu or whatever his name is. And, like, dude,
huge reach.
They already took a guard in the 1st round, and then they reach on a guard in the 4th round. And then
I'm not gonna lie, like, okay, Marlon Klein, Fibichi Nwanwu, and Wade Woodaz, none of them were better than 6th round picks to me.
No.
I didn't really get to anything on Nwanwu, so I can't be, like, super judgmental. But Klein and Woodaz, I got a decent look at enough. I would not have drafted either of them. And they took Klein in the 2nd round and Wade Woodaz in the 4th. Bro, Wade, like, Clemson fans think Wade Woodaz is like Osama bin Laden. Like, he was not good, dude. I don't know what they saw in him, like, at all. And Klein is like, and they already have Dalton Schultz. It's not even like
they don't.
Yeah.
They drafted in the 2nd round. Kamari, solid pick in the 5th round. I don't mind that.
I actually like that because I think if anybody gets the most out of Kamari Ramsey, it's the Texans.
But
So
Lewis Bond, like, dude, what are we doing?
yeah,
Lewis Bond in the 6th round.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, this
And
class,
their wide receiver room's already stacked too.
right? Like, where is he
Bro,
gonna fit in?
they like he at best is wide receiver 5 because they already have Tank Dell, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins, and then obviously their one from Michigan. Bro, why am I blanking on his name? From Michigan, their wide receiver 1. He's like the most forgettable wide receiver. Nico Collins, yeah, so forgettable to me for some reason. But like at best, this guy's your 5. I get it's the 6th round, so like maybe he's a special teamer. Yeah, but like, so I'm not gonna knock him on them for that. But like, man, you're forced 4 to 5 picks. I literally only like Caden McDonald, and funnily enough, I think this was kind of a little bit of a reach for McDonald too. I like the scheme enough where it's fine to me, but like, I do not think he was not the 36th best player on my big board. I think he was a little lower than that at the end of the day. So yeah, I gave this a D plus
Yeah, he was
because Rutledge is a scheme fit and McDonald is going to be a good player. But like every other pick outside of Kamari Ramsey just kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's bad. So yeah, man, I don't know what the hell they were doing. But funnily enough, their defense probably is still the number 1 defense in the league next year just because of how much Caden McDonald makes sense for them.
no, yeah,
So
that was
I,
biggest weakness on defense was defensive.
I can't give him an F
That's
because
fine.
their defense got better.
Literally Caden McDonald is the reason I didn't give him an F. I gave him a D plus because of Caden McDonald, and that.
Yeah. So now we have the Colts. Perfect.
Colts, they did not have a first round pick, so with their first pick, they took C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. Then they took A.J. Halsey, safety out of LSU. Then they took Jalen Farmer, guard out of Kentucky. Bryce Betcher, linebacker out of Oregon. George Gumps Jr., edge out of Florida. Caden Curry, edge out of Ohio State. Seth McGowan, running back out of Kentucky, and Deion Burks, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. This was a good draft.
Yeah. What do you give it?
I gave it an A. I really
Okay. So I know we're like not even halfway done, and this is my 3rd one. But when I like a draft, I like a draft. This is an A plus draft for me. Like, dude, Chris Ballard saved his job.
Yeah.
Good draft.
Quite literally.
Did not have a first round pick, and they came away with 2 first round talents.
Yeah, like literally. I don't think
dude,
Halsey's quite first round, but he's close.
He was like the 25th player on my big board, and I think CJ Allen was maybe TJ Allen was like a first, but he was like late 30s to the point where it's like, dude, this is like that's good value. I mean, they needed linebacker and safety bad, and you get 2 immediate starters who I both think have really, really good upside, like to be like stars.
Yeah.
Farmer, I think, is a pretty solid pick. Bryce Besher at linebacker too. I like that pick.
Yeah.
And then like, dude, George Gums Jr. and Caden Curry are like both kind of dart throws because Gums is injured and Curry with his arms. Like this floor that these players bring and Curry and then the ceiling of George Gums is like, dude, I like these picks in the 5th and 6th round.
Yeah, I do too.
You know?
I really
and
like
then,
Caden Curry in the 6th round.
Yeah. And then McGowan and Burks in the 7th. It's like, am I crazy to say I think they got a wide receiver 3 and a running back 2 in the 7th round? Yeah, it's insane. Like, dude, they got they got 2 starters in the 7th round. Great depth with their 2 4th-round picks and then their 5th and 6th pick, and then starters with great upside in the 2nd and 3rd. Like, what more do you want Chris Ballard to do? Like, dude, yeah. For me, the crazy part is it's like for some reason it's the Bills did this too. They don't have a 1st-round pick and they still cooked. Same thing with the Bengals. The Bengals had an A for me. Like that was, yeah. Colts, I just really like the Colts.
CJ Allen at 53 was unreal. Like, I did not think he was going to fall that far. AJ Halsey in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Farm.
Yeah. When you realize that the Dolphins took like Caleb Douglas at pick like 80 something. Yeah. Like Deion Burks is 10 times the player Caleb Douglas is, and he went fucking almost 200 picks later or whatever, 150. Like,
100. Like, dude.
What are we doing? Yeah. So now I have the joy of reading off the Jaguars, which everyone loved this class, didn't they? They started this draft with tight end Nate Borkaker out of Texas A&M. Their next pick, Albert Regis, defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. Emmanuel Pregnone, guard out of Oregon. Jalen Husky, safety out of Maryland. Wesley Williams, edge out of Duke. Tanner Koziel, tight end out of Houston, Josh Cameron, wide receiver out of Baylor, CJ Williams, wide receiver out of Stanford, Zach Durfee, edge out of Washington, and then Parker Hughes, a linebacker out of Middle Tennessee State. Straight up, this is probably off the top of my head the worst draft, D-. I can't give it an F because I like Husky and Pregnon enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think here's the thing. Brandon Beane had the crown of the worst GM in the league. And I'm going to take it off and not graciously, but throw it at James Gladstone and say, get the fuck out of here. I don't, because man, what do you give this class?
I gave this a D+. I tied it for worst with the Texans. I hate it.
Yeah.
The only thing saving this class was Pregnon, in my opinion. I like Husky a little bit.
Well, that's the funny thing is I like Husky, and I like Husky way more than the average person.
Yeah.
So the average person is looking at this class and saying, Emmanuel Pregnon's the only good pick. Everybody else is a huge reach. Like literally everyone.
Is an excellent pick, I will say. Like for a win now team, he's like a starter. He's a starter on day one. Like guard. He's really good. That's a great pick. I gave that pick an A+. That is the only pick that I gave that's higher than a B+ in this entire draft. Like this class is bad. Borkercher, horrible pick. I mean,
horrid.
Might be the worst pick in the draft.
This is his first year with double-digit catches as a tight end.
Yeah, and
he is a fifth. So he is a fifth-year tight end. I believe his first 4 years at Nebraska, he had it was 4 catches, 9 catches, 5 catches, and 6 catches. And those were his years. And then this year he had 19 for one. Never really had production in the red zone with touchdowns. He's a fifth-year player, so I think he's 25. And I believe he tested not great either. It's not like he was a stud athlete. So with your first pick in this draft, you took a backup tight end who has
25 by the time the season starts.
Yeah, who has never been elite at receiving. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think he's that good of a blocker. There's 5 tight ends that I thought went after him that were way better blockers. So what did they even like about this guy? Genuinely, because
what did they look at and were like, this is our second round pick? That's what I don't.
Because I don't even think he was on most people's boards. If I had to guess consensus, he was probably between 300 and 400.
I think Trevor.
Really?
Yes, but still.
Okay. Which is still horrid.
Second round.
Yeah, Regis is a reach for me. I don't hate it, but it's still a reach. Pregnon's great, but I wonder if there's a reason they fell. It's funny because when the Bears make a questionable pick, I'm like, oh no, they got it.
Yeah.
No, no, I kind of get it. Oh no, I actually see it. But when it's and don't get me wrong, I love Liam Cohen. I think Liam Cohen is very close to Ben Johnson in terms of offensive genius. But when James Gladstone makes this pick after the atrocious trade up he had for Travis Hunter last year and just the rest of the class in general, I'm like, no, I don't get it, bro. Even your good picks, I'm like, no, I'm questioning even the good picks.
And the saddest part about this is I like Tanner Koziel more than Nate Borkercher, and they got him in the 5th round.
Yeah.
They took Josh Cameron over CJ Daniels and other
yeah, bro.
Deion Burks. They took CJ Williams, which I forgot he played for Wisconsin, but this dude is the most forgettable receiver ever. He wasn't even on most people's big boards. I'm sorry.
No, I know.
They took him in the 6th round, not even the 7th.
And I mean, Zach Durfee sounds like a made-up player. I don't know anything about him, so I can't hate too much.
I have no idea who this dude is. And then Parker, I haven't heard of him either.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Jalen Husky and Pregnon are literally the only 2 picks I like. Regis, I think will be solid depth for them, and Wesley Williams will probably be solid depth for them. But those 2 were still overdrafted. Yeah, I just think he can't block at all. And you already took a tight end in this draft, and so you're drafting a 3rd-string tight end who can't block. Well, it depends on what they want, but I agree with you that it's I find it hard to believe that Liam Cohen had really any say in this draft.
I don't think there's no way he did, bro.
Because he is too good of a coach, and at Tampa Bay they had way too good of drafts consistently with him as their OC that it's yeah, I like the Husky pick, and I'm the highest man on Husky. Literally, I have not heard anyone that liked him as much as me. So.
PFF has Husky as 230.
Yeah, bro, these are literally all reaches except Pregnon. So yeah, they get a D-. I think James Gladstone is on his way out. I just do. Like I don't see it. And the Jags are not a good enough team to be lifting. Like they are not reloading. They need to be whatever, like keeping themselves rearmed, I think is the proper term. Like they're not good enough to whiff on drafts. They needed to be ascended into the next tier with a good draft, and they just did not do that. So yeah, let's stop looking at this trash and go to the Chiefs. Yeah.
So
What did you give this draft?
I gave it a B plus. I actually like this draft. I think they
Okay.
really solid.
I gave this class an A. I wanted to give it an A plus, but the process with Mansour Delane, I don't like, so that knocks it down. But I'm not gonna lie when I say this, there is not a player on this list I don't like. In fact, I actually like literally every player on this list more than just like, oh, I like them. Like I actually think these are really good picks for them. Delane, the process of trading up for him was not good, just gonna be honest. But like you get the best corner in the draft. Hey, I mean you trade why am I bro? What's his name to the Rams? He's from Washington, the corner out of Washington. Yeah, McDuffie. They trade McDuffie. They need their corner. This was a very, very bad spot for them on their team as of before the draft. So you get the best corner in the draft. I don't hate it. Obviously, Delane is lacking a little bit of length, so I wonder if he can be the corner one they need, but I still like him enough that this pick's fine in a weaker draft. I mean, Peter Woods, man,
Great pick.
at 29 for this team, the scheme, getting to sit behind Chris Jones. Could you ask for anything more? Like, if you're Peter Woods, like, you have to love this destination.
Great.
And then R. Mason Thomas, cherry on top of this draft. This is the player they needed at edge. The juice, the explosive ability, the fear that he will bring into opposing quarterbacks that none of their bigger, heavy-handed edges really bring is exactly what they needed, man. Like, their D-line's completely revitalized to me, which is great because it was horrible last year.
Yeah.
And then, like, Kennedy, I like that. I like him.
Yeah.
Sticky slot corner. I think he's going to be great in Spags' defense.
There's clips of him locking up Mekhi Lemon. Like, he
Yeah.
has it.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really good in the slot, really quick.
And then, like, I loved every one of their later round picks. Emmett Johnson, I think, is really, really solid. I don't know why he fell this far, but, like, you throw this guy in your running back room, I don't hate it. You know, what's funny is he's really just less tread, more juiced up Pacheco, which they just lost. Cyrus Allen, I think, will be a solid backup wide receiver and potential red zone threat in the future. And then Garrett Nussmeier, man. Mahomes is going to miss a few games. I think if anybody gets the most out of Nuss, it's them. Maybe they trade him for like a 4th or 5th after Mahomes comes back and they get a ton of value out of this pick, win a few games with Garrett Nussmeier. I just thought for the Chiefs being in kind of a desperate spot where they're like, damn, the first half of our dynasty is kind of dying out and some of our better players are getting older. This is the draft they needed, man, to just reload and get younger at some of these key positions. I mean, you kind of just replace McDuffie with Delane and Chris Jones with Peter Woods. And I think both of their ceilings are pretty damn high. So I like this draft, man.
I think my biggest knock on this draft and why I gave it a B plus is, yeah, like you said, I didn't like the process with Mansour Delane. I think I probably could have gotten him.
Yeah.
Like, I gave that pick a C plus just because I don't understand why they traded up in the first place. But other than that, man, great draft. R. Mason Thomas, great value at 40. I mean, he is going to he could be a game wrecker for them. Peter Woods, I mean, he was my second defensive tackle, and he went at 29. That's good.
I think he was mine too, yeah.
And then, like, honestly, one of my favorite picks is Garrett Nussmeier in the 7th round. I think he should have went before that, and they snagged him near the end of the draft. Like, that's great value. I don't know. I really like this draft. I think the Chiefs did a great job. And yeah, I think they did a great job with their limited picks as well. They only had like the normal 7. So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. You want to talk about the Raiders now?
Yeah.
All right. Is it my turn or yours? Man, I can't remember. Okay, that's what I thought. So the Raiders, they obviously had the 101. They took quarterback Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. They then took safety Traden Stukes out of Arizona, edge Kieran Crawford out of Auburn, center Trey Zune out of Texas A&M, corner Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee, running back Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas, safety Dalton Johnson out of Arizona, Hezekiah Mass's corner out of California, wide receiver Malik Benson out of Oregon, and then defensive tackle Brandon Cleveland out of NC State. I did not like this draft at all. I mean, everyone knows my opinions on Mendoza. I thought the entire process of that could have been done better. And then I thought the rest of the picks made in this draft were not that good. I gave this draft a D. Like, I did not like this draft,
Wow.
like, really at all. So, obviously, you had different opinions on some of these players, and especially Mendoza. So, what did you give it?
I gave it a B. I thought it was fairly average. I don't think they
Okay.
did enough to be like a sleeper team like the Browns this year. But I still
Mm,
think they did solid. Not amazing, not bad. Obviously, I'm higher on Mendoza than you. I think that was the pick for them. Braden Stukes, I think, was a bit of a reach.
I agree.
I didn't mind the pick, but I think it was a bit of reach. And then they take another Arizona safety, so they take both Arizona safeties. So basically, yeah, they're just taking the Arizona defensive core and putting it on their team. I don't
Yeah.
think that's that smart. Jermon McCoy is another interesting pick because for me, I think it's for if he is able to get healthy and actually play, I think it's a really good pick. I think getting him in the fourth round is behind, even where I had him in the second or third round. You're still getting him in the
Mm,
fourth. If he's healthy, that's a good pick. But I have my concerns about that, and I don't know if you just wasted a fourth round pick on Jermon McCoy and he's not going to ever play or be the same.
yeah.
And then on top of all that, they did not address receiver at all. They took Malik Benson in the sixth round, and that's it.
Yep.
And to me, the Raiders receiving core is horrible. Their wide receiver one is either Jalen Naylor or Trey Tucker, and you're telling me that you're not
Yeah.
going to take a receiver until the start of the sixth round? Like, what are you doing? I don't get that. But like some of the picks they made, like good players, but they just didn't address some of their key needs that I felt like they needed, and I don't know. They reached a few times as well, so it was pretty average.
Yeah. So I gave them a D because obviously do not think Mendoza is worthy of this pick or anything close. I wish they would have traded with a team that was just like dumb. I don't know. Cardinals or the Jets and gotten picks for next year and then this year. Whatever though, that's not even the biggest knock of this class for me. Stukes was fine, a little bit of an overdraft. Kieran Crawford, think is an overdraft, never really loved him. Soon I don't love, to be honest.
Yeah.
My thing with the McCoy pick is I think if he falls this far, it's kind of evidence. It confirms what I think everyone is thinking. And I really do just think this is a wasted pick. Fortunately, it sucks for this guy, and he was a great player. If you fall this far, I kind of look at the Will Johnson thing. He still won in the second round. Man, you don't go to the fourth after being viewed as a consensus top 10 talent. Like, I think it's almost guaranteed that he's getting surgery and missing all this year. And at that point, you're 2 years removed from football after back to back
Too much.
horde injuries. Like, dude, like, I don't want to say he should go undrafted, but like, if you make it to this point in the draft, there's a reason, and just draft somebody else,
I
man.
agree. I agree.
Mike Washington, I actually really like as Gentry's backup.
I
Like,
like that.
this was probably my favorite pick of their draft. But then Dalton Johnson, Hezekiah Massis, meh. I actually like the Malik Benson pick. Like, I like Malik Benson as a player. And Brandon Cleveland isn't like horrible, but like this is their sixth and seventh round picks. My thing is they just did not address defensive interior like I thought they should. They did not address wide receiver like I thought they should. And man, they really needed to for those two picks. Like, just gonna be honest. Like, this team does not have the luxury to take Traden Stukes and Kieran Crawford at the top of the second and third round. Like, how they passed on the best wide receiver available at the top of round two, didn't, like, for example, you could have drafted Elijah Surratt with the pick they used to take Jermon McCoy. How do you not do that? Like, I just don't get it. I think on top of me already not liking Mendoza, and they didn't. I mean, their O line's fine. Like, I'm of the camp that I think it's better than most, but it's still not great. And you took Trey Zune, and that's it. We're going into a year.
Trey Zune was a reach, in my opinion. I don't.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
We are going into a year with Mendoza, who I already do not like, and his wide receiver room is atrocious. His O line needed improvement. You didn't get it to him. His defense is not good enough to help him in any sense. Like, he's not going to be able to, he's going to be on the field a lot because of his defense is not great. And it's just like, dude, yes, you're right. His wide receiver one is who? Jalen Naylor? I'm sorry, but he's a 3 on the Vikings who get the most out of wide receivers, evidence out of like KJ Osborne being not great after he left us. So I don't even know if I like Jalen Naylor's gonna be as good as he was for us as for them. Like, you can't address, and then they didn't even take a defensive interior at all instead of Brandon Cleveland. Dude, I just don't get like their I don't see the Raiders winning more than 5 games next year. I just don't. I mean, like, Brock Bowers was banged up all last year. I don't even know if he's good to go. Max Crosby, I don't think will start the season for them. Like, man, who's your best player on this team that's not named Ashton Genty? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, you put like a Joe Burrow level prospect on this team and you're setting them up for failure. Even the people that like Mendoza would tell you that he would have went like in the Caleb Williams class like third or fourth. So it's not like this guy is an elite QB prospect by any means. They're setting him up for failure so bad. And I think you go from a year where you went 15-0 and did not lose a game to a year where I don't think you win more than 5. I think this crushes this guy's mental state. On top of the fact that he's already not that good of a prospect in my eyes, the Raiders did not do this the right way. And they should have either just drafted differently or not taking Mendoza here because they are not ready for this. They're just not. I don't care if he sits behind Kirk Cousins, man. Kirk's going to be dead after the first game. So, yeah, I didn't like it. I don't really have anything else to say. You want to go to the Chargers?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe is it your?
It's mine. Yeah, it's mine.
Okay.
All right, so the Chargers, Akeem Mesidor, edge out of Miami. They got Jake Slaughter, center out of Florida. Brennan Thompson, wide receiver out of Mississippi State. Travis Burke, tackle out of Memphis. Genesis Smith, safety out of Arizona. Nick Barrett, defensive tackle out of South Carolina. Logan Taylor, guard out of Boston College, and Alex Harkley, guard out of Oregon. I thought this was a solid draft. I nothing crazy. I gave it a B. I think their first couple picks were great. Kind of fell apart a little bit at the end there. I didn't really like Nick Barrett to Alex Harkley. They're okay, solid picks. Brennan Thompson was an okay pick. I think, honestly, that was one of the best scheme fits he could have gotten.
Yeah, the Mike McDaniels. Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I like the Genesis Smith pick in the late 4th. I like Jake Slaughter in the 2nd. I like Akeem Mesidor. I think Akeem Mesidor is a great fit for them. Yeah, I thought this was a solid draft. B, I think pretty average. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I give it a B+. I liked it a little more. I think I see the vision for them. Akeem Mesidor was someone that had to go to a Super Bowl team. I honestly think that the Chargers will be next season.
I think they
before both of their elite level tackles were out for the season. I mean, Herbert was an MVP candidate and the Chargers were unstoppable. You add this guy at probably their biggest position of need, and for the next 2 years, now that's a strength. And I think that their window is the next 2 years. You then add Jake Slaughter, who was one of my favorite defensive or offensive interior players. Super, super smart. Built exactly like how you wanted him, with loads of experience against a ton of SEC defensive tackles. I love this, man. Thompson, I think, is a great scheme fit. Wasn't super high in the player, but the scheme fit's amazing. Travis Burke as somebody that could potentially fill in. He has the size to replace Joe Alt and could fill in for Slater as well. I love that. Smith, I think this is a good team for him to go to. Just put him in the middle of the field. You know, you give a little more responsibility to Derwin James and let him fly around. I don't hate that. And then even like Logan Taylor and Harkey are like, you just need some guys on this line, because when it went bad last year, you kind of wish you had some decent guys like this to fill in for them, and they didn't. So I like this. Obviously, I thought they could have gotten a little bit more value out of their Nick Barrett picks, and maybe their Smith, Burke, and Thompson picks I still liked, but I think they could do a little better. But this is a B+ draft to me, man. So I think the Chargers set themselves up well for next year.
Yeah, and I did actually. I completely misread that.
Okay.
So we both had B+ for this draft. I do think this is a really solid draft. I think Mesidor is a perfect scheme fit. If you hand-picked a team for Mesidor in the first round, I think
he's one of them.
It's either the Chargers or I don't know, the Eagles maybe, like a win team.
I agree.
Because he's one.
I agree. The Rams. So the Rams took probably the most, I would say, polarizing pick in the first round. Quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. They then took tight end Max Clare out of Ohio State. Keegan Trost, tackle out of Missouri. CJ Daniels, wide receiver out of Miami. And defensive tackle Tim Keenan out of Alabama. I gave this draft a C+. I was only slightly above average with it, but I'm going to be honest, they did not have that much picks to make in the first place. And 2 of their first 3 picks I was not a huge fan of. So what did you think of it?
I gave it a B-.
Okay. I agree. If you were to throw in McDuffie, by the way, this would probably be a B for me.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They traded a lot of their picks to get McDuffie and revamp their defense.
One of their first. Yeah.
I think both me and you.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. He was my number one
I
quarterback.
actually think that's a perfect scheme fit for him.
I agree.
Like, I think going into that offense with Sean McVay as a coach, like you see Sean McVay gets the most out of his offensive players, and I really think he could do the same with Ty Simpson.
And he sits behind Matthew Stafford. Yeah.
The year behind Matthew Stafford, learns from one of the greatest. Like that is perfect for him. I think that's exactly what he needs as a developmental quarterback. And then Max Clare, solid tight end.
Dave, he's like their tight end 3, and you took him with your second round pick.
Right.
Like they drafted, because they already have, I forget who their starter is, but he's Tyler Higbee. They have Tyler Higbee, and then they took, this was a reach last year too. They're like the 49ers with running backs. They took the tight end out of Oregon last year in the second round. I think he's from Oregon. I can't remember his name. He was like a redhead. Hey, you continue talking about it. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Terrence Ferguson.
Sorry. That's right.
Yeah. So this is your third tight end you took with your second pick in a 5-pick draft. Not great.
On that pick, I didn't really like Keegan Trost.
No, he's not a scheme fit for them. I don't get it.
Like, I don't know. Like, he's a tackle, and they maybe needed a tackle, but I don't like the player they chose for that.
I agree.
But C.J. Daniels and Tim Keenan, I like those picks. I think
I agree. They're fine.
C.J. Daniels is kind of like, he's more of a win-now type of player that you need to grab because he's older. And Tim Keenan, I don't know how he fell to the 7th round. I get he's a really bad athlete, but I think he's
yeah.
So I think they did well with the 6th and 7th round picks, and then I like the Ty Simpson pick.
I agree. I think the hate is way overblown.
I do too. I completely.
Like, I don't know if this is a Bama thing. Like, people just love to hate Bama. I don't know if this is a Ty Simpson thing. But what's weird to me is, like, people hate Ty Simpson. This guy's good. He's a good quarterback. He had a good year in the SEC. Like, I get Bama didn't meet expectations this year, but this guy won them a college football playoff game. And all of the reasons that Bama was bad, in a sense of the way people think, was not this guy's fault. For a first-year starter to come in and win a college football playoff game with the garbage O-line that we had and garbage running back room we had, and honestly, Ryan Grubb calling plays did not help. No. He did great for me. So I don't really understand the hate. I get he's not the biggest guy. I get he's not like an insane athlete, and he is only 1-year starter. But, like, you took him a little higher for me because I had him mid-20s. But, you know, it's the quarterback tax, man. You can't be this mad at it. It's not like this is a top 10 pick.
If he doesn't go at 13, he's probably going at 16 to the Jets or at, or 21 to the Steelers. Like, a team is going to take him in the first round.
100. I thought, I mean, so I don't know. I think the hate's way overblown. I liked him more than Mendoza, so to see him go this close to him, I think that's good for him. And I think his situation's just awesome, man. And I get a bunch of people are like, oh, we needed a win now player. Why didn't we take a win now player right now? But, like, Matthew Stafford's probably retiring after this year. Yeah. They already used one of their first-round picks to go win now. I'm sorry, but you need to let Les Snead prep for the future, because otherwise next year you're QB1. You know, for all these people that are like, they need to win the Super Bowl. Okay, well, you don't have any picks because you traded them all away, and the pick you're going to have next year isn't going to be high because you just went to the Super Bowl. Who's their quarterback next year?
Bennett.
Stetson Bennett, and you don't have any picks to trade up for anybody. Guys, they couldn't, like, Les Snead wants to keep his job, believe it or not. This is an excellent, like, you just extended. I get that next year's window is probably not as high, but you just extended your Super Bowl window for like 5 more years, assuming Ty Simpson is good, and he has every reason to be. Like, you're not just going to waste the talents of Jared Verse and Puka and all these guys who will be good for the next 4 years simply because you have no quarterback outside of Stafford, who's probably going to retire after this year. So I actually really like this pick. I think everyone's overreacting, and I hate that people just assume that if this was the best O-lineman or wide receiver available, they're just magically winning the Super Bowl. Like, this roster is already great, and it only got better with, like, them adding, you know, they traded for their 2 corners that they got. So I don't really get, yes, exactly. Like, how many picks do you want them to trade away or just throw at thinking right now? Like, the NFL is more than just right now.
Dude, in the NFL.
Exactly.
Now. You got to prep for the future. And, like, I'm sorry, this might be biased as a Packers fan, but I feel like we've done a great job with quarterbacks.
Exactly.
I feel like
yes.
Every team should model that.
And look at Mahomes, too. Right. Literally, all these elite quarterbacks either had teams sit with them for years. Right. Like, when Josh Allen stunk it up his first year, they did not just ditch him. They kept working with him for years. Patrick Mahomes sat, Jordan Love sat. Like, I'm fully on board with you. Like, the NFL usually is not a developmental league, and all these teams get burnt for it. And then when teams actually develop it, all everyone says is, we need to develop better. And then when teams actually develop players, they're like, what the hell? This isn't Mekhi Lemon. I want my wide receiver 3 instead of my quarterback 1 for the next 10 years. Like, what are we doing? I don't know.
To me, there's a reason why the Jets, the Giants, the Cardinals, Raiders are always picking high.
Yep.
It's because they can't develop. And then you look at
Yep.
teams like the Rams, who would have been picked 29, but they traded and then traded with the Falcons last year to get up to 13. They're picking a quarterback, and they're using it to develop him. I don't understand why there's so much hate on it. I actually like the pick. I don't get the hate. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Maybe he won't pan out, and then the hate will be warranted. But to me, he seemed like a quarterback who could be developed into a starter. So,
Yeah.
Want to talk?
So not the Dolphins. Yep.
I get to talk about the biggest class in this draft: 13-player Dolphins.
First draft for Eric Sullivan, their new regime.
Came over from the Packers. Their coach came over from the
Halfley. Yep.
Green Bay South, but.
They really are.
For his first draft, he selected 13 players, starting with Caden Proctor, tackle out of Alabama, then Chris Johnson, cornerback out of San Diego State, Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker out of Texas Tech, Caleb Douglas, wide receiver out of Texas Tech, Will Kacmarek, tight end out of Ohio State, Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville, Trey Moore, linebacker out of Texas, Kyle Lewis, safety / linebacker out of Pittsburgh, Michael Toth, safety out of Texas, Kevin Coleman Jr., wide receiver out of Missouri, Sado Traore, tight end out of Mississippi State, DJ Campbell, guard out of Texas, and Max Llewellyn, edge out of Iowa. This is a huge class, and I actually like it. I think they did a pretty solid job.
What did you give this draft?
I gave it an A-.
Oh.
I think there's only one pick that I don't really like, and that is Caleb Douglas. Actually, I don't like that pick at all.
Me neither.
Other than that, I think they did really solid.
Yeah, I gave them a B+. There's only 2 things that I really would have done differently in this draft. I think instead of drafting Chris Johnson, I would have drafted the best edge player available, which would have been like TJ Parker. I would have rather had TJ Parker here by like a mile. And I probably would not have drafted Caleb Douglas like at all. Yeah, this draft had, weirdly some bad picks, like some really bad picks. But they just did really well overall that I think it's a B+. Like, starting off with Caden Proctor, I like because you set the tone of what you want your team to be. You want to be big and dominant in the trenches. What better pick than Caden Proctor? And for everyone that's worried about them needing like if he can play tackle with his speed and size, well, guess what? They need guard just as much. So at the very worst, he's an elite guard for you. I like that pick. Chris Johnson, like I said, I thought this was a little rich, but that corner room's atrocious. I would have rather grabbed like Avion Terrell later, because I did not like Chris Johnson as much as I did for a lot of the other corners. But, I'm not mad at it. It's also a great scheme fit for Halfley. I mean, I know you like Chris Johnson, so do you kind of think the same thing? Yeah, I mean, continue. The J-Rod pick, pretty solid. I mean, you raised the floor of your linebacker room a decent amount. Caleb Douglas pick, I mean, not good. You could have had Skylar Bell. You could have had Elijah Surratt. You could have had, I would have literally preferred, Bryce Lance here, and I hate Bryce Lance. So
Chris Brazzell, you could have had.
Yep.
I don't get that pick whatsoever.
It's funny. Out of literally all the wide receivers they drafted, he was my least favorite. By far. By far.
I agree.
Will Kacmarek, I don't mind. He was, sneakily very good out of Ohio State, and he's a really, really good blocker. So if they want to run that, I get that. Chris Bell, I love the value here. I think this can be a pretty decent wide receiver, too, for you if he comes back from injury. Trey Moore, Kyle Lewis, Michael Taff, Sadu Traore, DJ Campbell, Max Mullen, all these guys, Kevin Coleman Jr. I just like his depth. I think one or two of these guys will probably be a good starter. And at the very least, on a really, really bad roster, they added a super, just a bunch of really good guys.
Yeah, I
agree. B+ for me, because I thought they could have handled their first couple picks a little better, but overall still way above average, because I like this as a statement draft for Halfley and Eric Sullivan.
Yeah, I think this would have been an A.
I agree. I think I could see them drafting Smith next year.
Yeah, to me, it seems like this is a
So,
team that's going to tank one more year and then get an
mhm,
excellent player early in the
yes,
2027 draft. But yeah, I mean, this is an A for me. Had it not been for Caleb Douglas, I don't understand that pick. Every other pick is great. I like it. Chris Bell, like you said, awesome. Kyle Lewis, great. J. Rod, great. I liked Chris Johnson more than you, so I liked that pick. I thought that was good at 27. I really liked Max Llewellyn in the 7th. Kevin
that's good value.
I thought was good value in the 5th. Yeah, I think Eric Sullivan attacked this draft and did pretty well. I was
I agree.
yeah, I was proud of the Packers representation there. I think he did a good job.
For how bad that team was, I thought they just added a lot of really needed talent. And they'll still be bad next year. That is still a horrible roster. But you attacked it to the point where I think they can be a good team. They are on pace to be a good team in 2 to 3 years. This was needed. And it worked out perfectly because I get to talk about the Vikings draft. We didn't even plan for that. So the Vikings took Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida, Jake Golday, linebacker out of Cincinnati, Dominique Orange, big citrus, defensive tackle out of Iowa State, Caleb Tiernan, tackle slash guard out of Northwestern, Jacoby Thomas, safety out of Miami, Max Bredesen, fullback slash tight end out of Michigan, Charles Demings, corner out of Stephen F. Austin State, Damone Claiborne, a running back out of Wake Forest, and Gavin Gerhardt, center out of Cincinnati. If you would have watched my reaction to this draft live, you would have thought that I was going to give this draft an F. And I am not a fan of this draft still, but I came to my senses, looked as to why some of these picks were going to be made. And I'll be honest, some of them still don't make sense to me. But some of the higher picks and some of the value we got in the later rounds is enough for me to say I think this is a C- draft. I think I was way too harsh on it in the beginning. It's still below average for me, but I think we picked up players that can provide value through their ceilings and can be great fits in the future. What did you give this draft? I'm interested here because I know you did not like it either.
I gave it a C plus.
Okay.
I think this is a solid draft, not amazing. For me, my grade like a B minus is more average. C plus. I think it's a solid draft, not horrible.
Yeah.
I really liked the Big Citrus and Charles Demings picks. I think those are great.
Yeah. So yeah.
You want to go ahead?
I'll talk about this draft because I feel like I have, like you talked about, you did really well with the Packers. I kind of want to cover my Vikings. It was pretty obvious with our interim GM, Rob Brzezinski, that he will probably not be our GM next year. And you can tell a lot of these picks were made out of, no, that wasn't an insult. Like I'm saying, I don't think he was making the picks. I think it was very clearly Kevin O'Connell, and I think it was very clearly Brian Flores. I think part of the reason Brian Flores stayed is because in his contract, I bet they gave him a good amount of sway over our draft picks because our defense was lacking talent. It's pretty obvious with our first 3 picks. I think they're very clearly looking for fits through ceiling and through RAS because a lot of the guys we took were elite RAS guys. Caleb Banks is like the epitome of RAS. He is an alien at this position. Me and you viewed this guy as probably a late second to early third round pick due to the injuries. It's a reach. First defensive tackle off the board. I would have rather had Christian Miller. I would have rather had Peter Woods. I don't love this pick, but there's a million other picks I would have rather had, mainly Dylan Thieneman. But I can see the perspective of we want an monster in the interior, and none of the other guys I listed have the ceiling of Caleb Banks. It also did come out that his foot injury was not as bad as everyone said, and that he will be ready for actual football activities by June. So he'll actually make summer camp and be ready for the start of the season. So it's all reliant on how healthy he can stay. But listen, if there's going to be anyone to tap into the ceiling of Caleb Banks, man, you would have to believe in Brian Flores more than really anyone. Yeah. So I actually don't hate this pick as much as I did. I still would have rather had Dylan Thieneman, but with who our defensive coordinator it is and how much, it's kind of like the Ben Johnson thing. I have enough faith in Flores that this will be better than I'm hoping it will be. And Jake Golday, this is a pick for the future. We don't really need him right now, but he is another RAS guy. He can kind of do everything for you except blitzing. I think if anybody can develop that into him, it's once again Flores because all of his linebackers have become way better at blitzing. But you can tell like Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, some of our linebackers that are not going to be here in probably the next year or so, this guy's slotted right in to take their position. So I don't like this pick. I'm going to be honest. There's guys I wish we would have taken over him. But once again, I can see why you would want him. Flores had the quote of "We like big guys that move like little guys." Your first two picks are very clear of that evidence. These are both big guys that move like little guys. Jake Goldday was probably the biggest linebacker in this draft, and Caleb Banks was the biggest defensive tackle in this draft. So you get two of these guys that are huge. I can see why Brian Flores wants that. Yeah. Dominique Orange, I love. He's a super safe defensive tackle if Caleb Banks is injury prone all year. As somebody that you play him next to Jalen Redmond, it's still not a great room, but it's better than what it was before. Caleb Tiernan, I hated this pick when we made it, but Darisaw and Brian O'Neill both missed a lot of time last year. And if they have faith that this guy can slot in and play behind him, it's actually not bad. He can also probably slot in to play guard for you. Jacoby Thomas, just value. You probably could have gotten this guy in the 5th. I'm just going to be honest. But I will say personally, he's like a killer. He's apparently like genuinely a psychopath. And he had that quote where it's like, anybody that lines up from me is taking food out of my mother's mouth. So, hey, I like that attitude at the very least. Max Bredesen, you have to think this is a JJ McCarthy pick. Like, he probably is like, I want Max Bredesen, which is crazy that his voice still holds weight in drafting players. But like, JJ McCarthy was literally in Max Bredesen's apartment when he got drafted. So, like, it's hard to say that that's a coincidence. I don't like this pick. But, funnily enough, if you would have swapped him in, like, the Damone Claiborne pick, I'm kind of fine with it, so I can't hate on it that much. Charles Demings, I really like. Once again, a RAS corner, out of Stephen F. A. Austin, but I think it's fine to take him in the 5th. Once again, if there's going to be anyone that can get the most out of him, hoping it's Brian Flores. And then Damone Claiborne, really speedy guy. Not really sure how he lasted here. I thought he was going to go in the 4th, so I actually kind of like this juice to the running back room. And then Gavin Gerhardt, I don't really know anything about. Hopefully some solid depth on the line. I think we could have dealt with our picks a little better and taken players that were just better overall. But walking away, I think we only did slightly below average. It's not horrible, and I think a lot of this relies on KOC and Flores, who are proven to be good coaches, getting the most out of these guys. So only time will tell with this class. I think it's going to be a very hit or miss class in the future, and it's kind of depending on development. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I just went on a big rant about that, but
and you know better than me, of course, for how the Viking system is. But yeah, I think Caleb Banks is a solid pick. If the foot thing is true and he actually was ready to play in June, I think that actually could turn out to be a really solid pick. He has a high ceiling, so that's kind of scary because he's a huge force in the center of the field.
Yeah.
The Jake Goldday pick, definitely for the future. I don't see him really making an impact now, which is
no
fan of it. But Big Citrus, I really like that pick, especially when you pick Caleb Banks. Like, when I was thinking about it more, he will be like that safeguard if Banks isn't ready.
I agree.
And I think that's kind of why it was made, and I'm surprised he was there at 82. So that was good value. I didn't really like the Caleb Tiernan or Jacoby Thomas picks. Jacoby Thomas was my least favorite guys in the draft.
I agree.
Huge reach for me. I didn't really like that. Max Bredesen was solid. I don't know. In the 5th round was a little early for me too. But Charles Demings, again, I really like that pick. I think Flores will get the best out of him. And Claiborne was good value. Like you said, I don't really know much about Gavin Gerhardt. Maybe he will bring value to the center position.
Yeah.
I thought overall, I think it was actually better than both of us were making it out to be on.
I agree.
But still a little below average for me.
Yeah. Can I ask you so I know you said you didn't like the Jacoby Thomas pick, right? Did you forget that he has aura though? Like, did that factor in when you were like grading it? I mean, he has cool quotes. So like,
dude,
you have to take him high.
I mean,
yeah, he loves to hit people. I mean, come on.
And he's almost 25 and he's from Miami. So, like, if you're from Miami, you have to have aura, right, bro?
I mean, you have that dog in you, obviously. I'm not even going to lie. If it came out that his number one artist is Kodak Black, I'm taking this guy first overall. I'm going to be honest. Kodak Black or like 21 Savage or King Von, I'm taking him number one overall. I don't care. He's my number one safety, man.
The Vikings war room probably was like trying to press the draft Keontae Scott button and they accidentally hit the other button.
Yo, stop. That's actually probably what they did, bro. Boy.
This guy actually went over Keontae Scott. That's crazy.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. But we don't really need Scott. But yeah, I know this is your thing for the Patriots and you can go. It's weird because their first pick isn't showing. It's actually a Diana Rossini. That's interesting. All right, you can continue now. She's a free agent from what I've heard, so I think
the Patriots Did take Diana Rossini with their first pick. No, they took Caleb Lomu, tackle out of Utah. Gabe Akis, edge out of Illinois. Eli Raridan, tight end out of Notre Dame. Karen Prunty, corner out of Wake Forest. Demetrius Crownover, tackle out of Texas A&M. Namdi Obiazor, linebacker out of TCU. Baron Morton, QB out of Texas Tech. Jam Miller, running back out of Alabama. And Quintavious Hutchins, edge out of Boston College. This was also a below average draft.
Okay, so what is that for
C+.
you? Okay, I gave this a C. I thought it was literally just average. Lomu and Akis. I like Luma. I like Lomu. You know, I think he slots into this team. I like Lomu, but where he slots into this team is weird to me because they said they're keeping Will Campbell at tackle. So I'm not really sure like where he plays unless it's guard. But, you know, I mean, maybe it's like a future. Maybe they're planning on not having Will Campbell stay at tackle, which would be a horrible process if they took him that high and he's a guard. But whatever. Akis didn't really like, but like this was a team for him that makes sense. Raridan, I think, is a horrible pick. One of these tight ends that went way higher than he should have. Prunty, I don't know who that is, to be honest. Yeah, Demetrius Crownover is actually fine value. I kind of like that for them. But then like everybody else, like Miller, I'm fine with. Obiazor, I'm fine with, and Hutchins, I'm fine with. But it's like these guys are so late that it's like whatever. And I don't know how Baron Morton got drafted, like straight up. So
I don't know.
You know, their first two picks, I think, make, you know, I like Lomu, don't like the scheme. I don't like Akis, but do like the scheme. And everything else is just like fine. So it's a C for me. I mean, I guess if you factor in Diana Rossini, it's probably an A+, but like, yeah. What are your thoughts on this overall? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know what the thought process was there. Karen Prunty, I don't even know who that is, and they took him in the 5th round.
Yep. Typical Patriots.
I think my favorite pick was Demetrius Crownover, honestly. I think that was good value. Obiazor, I don't even know. I didn't know him before the draft either. Yeah, I don't know how Baron Morton got drafted, so that.
Nope, no idea.
But, yeah, overall, I just thought this was a very mid-draft.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the Patriots will be worse for it next year.
I agree, yeah.
So, yeah. Want to move to the Saints?
Talk about a better draft?
Oh, yeah. The top of this draft, at least. So they took Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State, Christian Miller, defensive tackle out of Georgia, Oscar Delp, tight end out of Georgia, Jeremiah Wright, guard out of Auburn, Bryce Lance, wide receiver out of North Dakota State, Lorenzo Styles Jr., safety out of Ohio State, Barryon Brown, wide receiver out of LSU, and TJ Hall, corner out of Iowa. I gave this draft a B. I thought it was good. I thought their first two picks were awesome. But the rest of this draft, I mean, like, I didn't like Delp, didn't like Lance. Obviously, we view Lance differently. I thought Lorenzo Styles Jr. was overdrafted. TJ Hall is just, I don't think he has the speed to be a corner really at all. And I mean, Barryon Brown, I missed him. A+ draft. What can I say? But no, I think overall it's a B draft. What do you think about it?
I gave it an A-. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. Well, if they would have.
I get it if you like Bryce Lance, to be honest. Okay. Did you see he got kicked off of the team, I think? Yeah. Whatever.
This draft was good. Jordan Tyson, he was our both
wide receiver 1.
Got him 8th pick. I think that's great. Him and Chris Olave are going to be a force against DBs.
Yeah. That is if they can stay on the field. Yes. I will say that. Potentially. I'm not sure.
I think the development aspect is there. I think the 3rd round is a little rich for him, but not horrible. And yes, I really like the Bryce Lance pick. I honestly think Bryce Lance, Jordan Tyson, and Chris Olave might be a top 3 trio in the league.
That's spicy, but I kind of agree with you, not because of Bryce Lance, but because of Jordan Tyson and Chris Olave.
Yeah. I actually really, really like that trio, and I had Bryce Lance graded as a early 3rd to late 2nd round pick, just based off his athleticism, and they got him at the end of the 4th. I think that is amazing value.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Bryce Lance, the rest of the draft is meh. But I just think the Bryce Lance pick, the Christian Miller pick, and the Jordan Tyson pick make this draft an A- for me. I think those are all knockout draft picks, and
yeah,
I think the Saints crushed it.
Now, you might be sitting here saying, well, this team got my wide receiver 1 and defensive tackle 1. How are they not higher than a B? Funnily enough, I love both these players. Obviously, the process is a little confusing to me. As much as I like Jordan Tyson, this wide receiver room behind him and Olave is still so garbage, and both of them are so injury prone that it's like, I like Tyson way more than like Makai, but I would almost rather have like a sure thing. Just
Yeah.
being honest, like that worries me a little bit. Folk, yeah, but Christian Miller, I also think plays into this team like a little weird. I'm not sure really where he plays. I'm sure they'll find a spot for him. Maybe they just don't believe in Brian Brzee anymore, which that would actually be fair if that's the case. But I think it's a B. I think they still did good. I just wish they would have made a little bit safer picks, or at the very least, not like I don't like Bryce Lance. I would have rather had them take like a better receiver in the third round or over the Bryce Lance pick just to beef up this room a little bit. Because I mean, let's be real. In my opinion, Barryon Brown and Bryce Lance as your wide receiver one, it's just not good. Yeah. So assuming that Olave and Tyson get injured, but I will say the potential of this draft is A plus easily because I mean, man, they could have easily one of the best receiving cores, if not the best receiving core, if him, Tyson, and Olave can stay healthy. So yeah, I gave it a B, but it has the potential to be so much worse while also being so much better. So yeah, that's the Saints. That's fair.
I'm not gonna lie,
well, Bub Means will be over him, so, you know, wide receiver 4, but
yeah, bro, yeah, totally.
Yeah. But continue.
But no, I think if he was a wide receiver 3 and he's taking the corner 3 of another team, I think he could actually annihilate.
Cool. Remind me how many corner 3s he faced in college?
Probably none, but he has the size and athleticism.
0. Yeah, I mean, it's just funny. We view him way differently, but but let's move to the Giants now.
They had 2 top 10 picks. They took Arvell Reese, linebacker, out of Ohio State. They took Francis Mauanoa, guard, out of Miami. Well, he will be a guard. Colton Hood, corner, out of Tennessee. Malachi Fields, wide receiver, out of Notre Dame. Bobby Jamison Travis, defensive tackle, out of Auburn. J.C. Davis, tackle, out of Illinois. And Jack Kelly, linebacker, out of BYU. I think this is a good class just because of the amount of top picks they have. The Arvell Reese, like, the way they went about that was a little odd. I still think he's an amazing player, and I think if they put him at linebacker, he is going to be really good. And Francis Mauanoa is a top 3 offensive lineman in this class. So both those picks were good, and then Colton Hood at 37 I thought was really good value.
What was your grade?
An A. I gave it an A.
Oh, okay.
I think those top 3 picks make it an A, and then I actually really like the value of J.C. Davis in the 6th.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think Jack Kelly's a solid pick as well. Even Bobby Jamison Travis, they needed to replace Dexter Lawrence. I know he's not going to be that replacement, but he's somebody they can put in there.
You need to put a body there, yeah.
Malachi Fields was really the only pick I didn't like in this class.
Okay, yeah. I gave this draft a B- simply because of the process. The players they got, like, I'm in agreement with you. They got really talented players with their first 3 picks, but I personally would have gone about it way differently. You know, the Arvell Reese thing, it's a weird conversation because I guess we'll see with him, but like he came out and said he wants to play edge, and he's been training to play edge, and the Giants straight up said we're taking him to play linebacker. Personally, I would have taken Sonny Styles over Arvell Reese at this point. He's a better linebacker. If you wanted a linebacker, Sonny Styles is right there. Like personality, like I don't know if Arvell Reese is going to be like upset, like he wants to play edge and now he can't. But kind of like last year, the Giants just got put in a position where they came out and said Abdul Carter was their number 1 overall pick. They didn't really need edge last year, but they're like, well, we're sitting here at 3 and our number 1 overall player by far is on the board. We're going to take him. They came out and said that Arvell Reese was their number 1 player on their board. Like they're picking at 5. Like the value of that, like I get it, but like me personally, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't think this was the best pick for them. I just don't like if you wanted linebacker, he's not the best linebacker. And if he's playing edge for you, he's like your 3rd or 4th edge. So like, what are we doing? And then they didn't trade Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't know. Mauanoa's fine, but like I would have rather had a bunch of other guys. Like he's playing guard for you, and I get O-lineman's important, but like, dude, Caleb Downs is here, man. I'm sorry. Downs is so much better of a player.
Almost dropped their just because they let the Cowboys get down.
Yeah, and you also let your division rival get a generational player. Like, you could have worked out of this draft with Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, and it just feels like you could have done this way better. And then Colton Hood is fine, but like I'm picking Avion Terrell here over him. I'm picking a lot of other corners over him here. So I don't love that. Malachi Fields, like I'm taking like 10 wide receivers over him in this spot. And then I like JC Davis, but like, dude, it's hard to be like, yeah, I don't like it anything less than a B minus because Reese Mauigoa and Hood are still very, very great talents that will make this team better. So it's like, I would have gone about the process so much differently, but you still came away with good players. So it's like, I don't know what, like this was a hard team to grade. Yeah.
I mean, the top 3 at least. But like,
Yeah.
I would have given this an A+ if they had gotten Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they got a B- from me if their first 3 picks were Caleb Downs, Sonny Styles, and Avion Terrell. It would have been an A+ for me, just straight up. And then if they would have taken Skylar Bell instead of Malachi Field, this would have been easily an A+ draft for me. And you got good guys, but I just think you could have done this so much better. So I don't, even if they trade back from like Mauigoa and end up getting Freeling or like literally any of the other tackles like Lomu or Ianicher, I don't know. I don't know. I get Mauigoa has the versatility to play guard and tackle, and not a lot of those other guys do. But like, it's just confused me. We'll have to see how, mainly with Arvell Reese, how it slots out. But yeah. Do you want to talk about the Jets, or do you have anything else to say with the Giants? All right. The Jets, they had David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon, Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana, D'Angelo Pons, corner out of Indiana, Daryl Jackson Jr., defensive tackle out of Florida State, Cade Klubnik, quarterback out of Clemson, Inez Cooper, guard out of Miami, and VJ Payne, safety out of Kansas State. I gave this draft an A-. What about you?
I gave it an A. I like it.
Okay.
I think they did good.
So starting at the top, David Bailey. Everyone thought it was going to be Arvell Reese, but I don't hate this pick.
We both said David Bailey.
Oh, did we?
I think so.
No. I'm saying everyone else, but like the consensus was that it was Arvell Reese, not us. No, we differ from opinions. Hey, we had Jordan Tyson wide receiver 1 the whole time, baby.
Come on, baby.
And his receiving yard prop is higher than anybody else's, including Carnell Tate. So yeah, what do they really think about him? And you know what's crazy about that? His receiving prop is 50 yards more than Carnell Tate, and he's injury prone, and Tate isn't, and Tate's a wide receiver 1, and Tyson isn't.
Oh, yeah.
So that means the books think that Tyson is like way better wide receiver than Tate. So they think like what we're thinking, man. But yeah, David Bailey, I mean, you just get one of the best defensive players in this class. His run defense might be a little bit of a question, but his pass rush is so good that like, I just think he's going to be a 10+ sack. Like, that's just how I view him.
Dude.
And in a weaker class, you take that player at 2, man. Like, that's what the Jets need. They don't have any juice off the edge. You love them more than I did, and I still think this is an awesome pick. Kenyon Sadiq, little questionable. I did not view him this high, but like, he's your tight end 2, and you're taking him at pick 16. But kind of like Connor Rogers said when grading this draft, if you swap the Omar Cooper and the Kenyon Sadiq pick, it's fine. So I can't hate it that much. And obviously Kenyon Sadiq's ceiling is like elite. So I don't know if you thought any differently, but like I'm fine with this actually.
I graded that.
Yeah. And then Omar Cooper Jr. at 30, like the value they lost from Sadiq at 16 was made right up with getting Omar Cooper at 30. I think he's an elite wide receiver too. I loved Omar Cooper, especially on this system with Garrett Wilson. Like this, I love this. Not gonna lie, one of the biggest reasons I gave it an A- was because I think they kind of just wasted a pick with D'Angelo Pons.
Best pick, dude.
Was Avion Terrell still on the board?
No, he was.
He was not. Okay, that's a little better. But like, man, I'm taking really any of the. I mean, this is just like it's like the Bryce Lance thing. We just view this player differently. Pons is whatever. You love him. I don't. I will say though, if there is a team that he's going to, the Jets make a ton of sense. Like they do. Like this actually makes sense for them. Daryl Jackson Jr. I actually really like him at 4th. Like with this traits, you hope that Aaron Glenn gets the most out of him. And if he does, man, this is way better than a 4th round pick. And then, another reason why this draft is an A- to me, Cade Klubnik in the 4th round. What are we doing? They traded up to take Cade Klubnik. Garrett Nussmeier's available. I literally would have rather had like any other quarterback, to be honest. Yeah. And why don't you just take your backup in the 6th or 7th round?
I'm not.
Why do you trade up for Cade Klubnik, who looked horrible this year? I don't get this pick. I think they wish Carson Beck was here, but whatever. And then VJ Payne's actually pretty good value, and then Inez Cooper's fine, but this is a really solid draft for me. I think they added a ton of talent to their offense specifically and got a difference maker on defense.
Yes.
So I like this draft for Aaron Glenn and the Jets.
I pick for the Jets since I don't even know March. I think easily the second best player behind Sonny Styles. Well, he was my first until I actually got to deep dive into Sonny Styles. I still think he is a really, really good player. Getting him at 2, great value. I love that for the Jets. I think he can be an instant difference maker. Omar Cooper, good value at the end of the first round. I like that they traded up and made the move to go get him. That'll be a great pairing with Garrett Wilson. I think he is like his peak is a good wide receiver 2 for me, and I think pairing him with Garrett Wilson will be a good scenario for him. Kenyon Sadiq, we already talked about it, but I it's a little bit of a reach, but like if you're planning for the future when you have 3 first-round picks next year? Like, you're planning for a couple years from now. If you can develop Sadiq into a good tight end, that will be viewed upon as a good pick. And then, of course, you don't view him as high, but D'Angelo Ponce at 50, I think, is good value. I gave that an A-plus pick. I really like that. Instant increase to the floor of your corner room for me, and I think getting him at 50 is excellent value. And then Darrell Jackson at 103, I thought he was going to go before that. He is such a freak that, like, I feel like he would... I thought for sure he was going to go before this, and you get him in the 4th round. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then Klubnik and Cooper are... Klubnik not great. Cooper is, but VJ Payne in the 7th. I've heard a lot of I've heard Stock Exchange talk about VJ Payne a little bit, and like they think he could transfer to corner and be actually pretty solid. I'm not sure. I haven't really watched him, but from what it sounds like, he could be pretty good value in the 7th. So overall, really good draft from the Jets. Pair this with a 2027 good draft with 3 first-round picks.
Man, they're so back.
The Jets could be a whole different team in 2 years, man.
See, they built this team to where next year they will use their top pick on a quarterback and their other picks to help them out a little more. They have a good O-line. They have both of their tackles. They have their wide receiver 1, their wide receiver 2, and their tight end room looks amazing. The running back room could use a little bit of work, but it's still solid. Like, man, you love this situation for the quarterback to come into next year. I'm going to be honest.
If I'm a Jets fan, this is the most hopeful I've been in a long time. Like this.
Yes, I agree.
Start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the Eagles? Yes, I believe it is.
The Eagles, so they traded up, and with their first pick, they took Makai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC, Eli Stowers, tight end out of Vanderbilt, Markel Bell, tackle out of Miami, Cole Payton, quarterback out of North Dakota State, that's my boy, Micah Morris, guard out of Georgia, Cole Wisniewski, safety out of Texas Tech, that's also my boy. Bernard, defensive tackle, he is a international prospect from Nigeria, I think. Nigeria?
Yes.
And then Keyshawn James Newby, defensive edge out of New Mexico. I really like this draft as well.
Yeah, so for me, what did you give this grade?
I gave this an A.
What was your grade?
I like it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for me, it's a B. I like a lot of the players they picked up. I like the depth they got. Micah Morris and Cole Wisniewski, great depth pieces. Markel Bell, man, if there's a team for this guy to go to and get more refined, it's the Eagles. Stowers and Lemon I like a ton, especially when you consider the fact that they use tight ends a ton and Goddard is out probably after this year. And the fact that after the A.J. Brown trade, it will literally just be Devonta Smith and friends. I like this pick. My only problem is both of these guys are middle of the field receivers and weapons, and Jalen Hurts cannot throw in the middle of the field.
That's true. But that's where Cole
Isn't it?
Payton comes in, baby. Cole Payton.
Yeah, but just genuinely, like, I like both these players. I just wonder if they're super limited in this offense, and I kind of worry that that's the case. When we saw Jalen Hurts when they won the Super Bowl, it was, on the 2 ends of the fields, man. Like, back shoulder, a lot of deep down the field stuff, not a lot of intermediate stuff, not a lot of passing down the middle. And when they kind of forced him to do that this year, man, he did not look that good. And Makai Lemon isn't really going to be winning deep for you as consistently as you'd like him. And Eli Stowers, I don't know if he has the speed or really just the contested catch ability to get deep down the field. These are more of the middle of the field guys. So I think it will heavily depend on Jalen Hurts, but I do like these players, so it's a B for me. I just think it really needs to work out scheme-wise with their top 3 picks. And I do find it funny that Cole Payton actually makes a ton of sense for this team.
He does like a lot.
Yeah.
I really like this draft. I think Mekhi Lemon is going to be a great replacement for AJ Brown when he is traded. I think he will be. They needed a revamp in the wide receiver room for when he's gone, and this was a great pick. Eli Stowers, I'm hopeful that he will be a high upside tight end. He's really athletic, good receiving threat, the type of guy that like you would expect the Eagles to want. I
Mm,
think he will be solid. Markel Bell has amazing size. If they can develop him into a good tackle, man, he might be really good. Um,
yeah.
and then Cole Payton, I've always been high on him since I first watched him. I actually think he is a really high upside backup. We were jokingly talking about how he could take Jalen Hurts' spot, and like honestly, I'm not even. It's not even that crazy.
Like,
In my opinion.
if Jalen Hurts starts the year bad, why do you not give Cole Payton a chance?
Like that's my thing.
And like, don't get me wrong, I don't think it will happen.
No,
I just
I
don't.
don't believe
But
it.
like, it's more likely than I think it can see. So, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that's an A+ pick for me. Uar Bernard in the seventh, just based off his freaking athleticism and his size, dude. If you could, Howie Roseman and like the Eagles, I think literally could develop this dude into a freak.
I mean, look what they did with Jordan Mailata. You know.
Yeah, and like, dude, if this dude turned into a freak, like this would be a steal. And then Newbie is a solid pick. There was no pick here in this draft that I had below a B. I think this is a really good draft. Howie Roseman did it again. Um,
Yeah. You want to talk about the Steelers now?
yeah, let's do it.
Or yeah, Steelers. Okay, so they took Max Ionicher, tackle out of Arizona State, Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver out of Alabama, Drew Aller, quarterback out of Penn State, Dalen Everett, corner out of Georgia, Jennings Dunker, guard out of Iowa, Caden Wheatgen, wide receiver out of Iowa, Riley Nowakowski, tight end out of Indiana, Gabe Rubio, defensive tackle out of Notre Dame, Robert Spears Jennings, safety out of Oklahoma, and then Eli Heidenreich, running back out of Navy. I gave this draft a B minus, but it's very close to a C plus for me. Okay, yeah, you start this draft with the Onicher. I like it. I think they obviously wanted Mekhi Lemon instead, but you know, the process of them getting Ionicher and then taking Bernard, I actually kind of like better than what they would have done, and assuming they would have gotten Lemon.
Oh yeah.
Alar is just a waste of a pick. Not a good player. Will Howard is, I think, way better. Dalen Everett was overdrafted, but if you feel like you needed a corner with some tools, there you go. Jennings Dunker actually fits into this team better than I think a lot of people think.
Yep.
And he's a solid player where they got him. Caden Wheatgen is like, what are we doing? I mean, he was a UDFA. I'm sorry. He was I'll give him his like flowers. Like he was probably the best return man in this draft, but like you're drafting that at 121. Are we serious?
Yeah.
Like I just don't get that at all. And like dude was literally golfing when he got drafted. I don't think
Did
he
not
thought
expect
he
to
would
draft
go
him first
here.
round.
Yeah, Riley Nowakowski is fine. Gabe Rubio, I saw some Steelers fan. I don't know if this is just like insane, but like there might be some basis behind it. Like this might have been a purely nepotism pick, like because his dad used to play for the Steelers and I think still has connections to them. Because like this guy's not even a prospect. Like on NFL.com, he doesn't even have a profile picture. Like that is the only person I have seen not have a profile picture. And I looked him up because I was like, oh no, like he's probably no, like this dude has like 100 snaps a year. Like barely played, was like purely a rotational player at Notre Dame and was never really good and isn't like super young or isn't super athletically gifted. So like I don't yeah, well that's where they think like this account that I saw was like, this is nepotism. He asked for his son to get drafted and they did it. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it's that, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Robert Spears Jennings is great depth
Yeah.
where you got him. I'm surprised he made it this far. And then Heidenreich is a cool story, but I don't really think is anything super notable. I just think it was a B minus because like the Wheatgen, the Rubio, the Alar pick, and the Everett pick were just not great to me. And that's just too many picks and too valuable of positions to mess up for me. So yeah. But I do like Ionicher and Bernard and Dunker a good amount. So I mean, yeah, this is Steelers.
Yeah, I think it would have been higher for me if they wouldn't have had such key misses. Yeah, Drew Aller's a miss,
Yeah.
Wheatgen's a miss, Rubio's a miss. Yeah,
I agree with you. B minus. Want to talk about the 49ers?
yeah.
I believe I think it is you. Yes.
Traded out of the first round and were the first pick in the second. They took Dijon Streebling, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. Then they took Romello Height, edge out of Texas Tech. Then Kalen Black, running back out of Indiana. Then Grayson Halton, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Carver Willis, I think, is he a tackle or a guard? I'm not completely sure.
Tackle, it says.
He's a tackle out of Washington. Ephesians Prysock, corner out of Washington. So two back-to-back Washington guys. And then Jaden Duggar, linebacker out of Louisiana. And Enrique Cruz, Jr., guard out of Kansas. I didn't like this draft. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, me neither.
Dribbling is so rich for me at 33, so rich. I didn't understand that. I mean, me and you talked about how he would probably go early day 2, and I still don't get it.
This is horrible.
I gave that pick a D. I don't understand why you would take him over some of the better receivers in this class.
Yeah, John Lynch, like Gladstone, like Bill Belichick when he was a GM, they just have their own boards, man.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Like, they don't care if they're off of consensus by like a million picks. They don't care if they're taking their running back 5 with a 3rd-round pick. They do what they do, and they don't care. And, like, it usually burns them. And it burned them with Trey Lance. It burns them in this draft. I honestly think this is almost as bad as the Jags draft. It's a D- for me. I don't like this draft at all. Like, they did not get any player that was good for me, and even when they did, it would made no sense really where they went. Dejon Stribling, I mean, man, there's like 10 receivers I'd rather have over Dejon Stribling. And I get that the NFL liked him, but like, dude, this is not the pick to make
He
here.
was literally my 16th receiver on my big board, and he got taken at 33.
Yeah, like you take this over Denzel Boston, I'm sorry, it's just a horrible pick. Yeah, but dude, they have Nick Bosa, Mykel Williams, Keon White. They traded for he's like their 5th edge.
I just think
He
has a really high floor, low ceiling. I think he's more.
Yeah, but here's the thing for me is they drafted like they're win now, and I don't think they are. They are way too injury prone, and they have way too many positions that your 2nd and 3rd pick cannot be used for your edge 5 and your running back 4, especially when it's Romello Height, who is super limited in his role, and Kalen Black, who was overdrafted by probably 100 spots and is literally your running back 4.
Was bad.
Like, I like Kalen Black. He's a good player, but bro, you have CMC, you have Isaac Garendo, they have another running back that I can't think of right now. He's their running back 4. Dude, they might. No, they might. I think they do. He might be their running back 5. Like, bro, you needed a tackle replacement. You needed more depth on this O-line. You needed more corners and more DBs. And you took a wide receiver way higher than he should have went, an edge that's super limited and is your 5th edge, and then a running back who's your 4th. Like, is he even going to see the field this year? This is your 3rd pick in this draft. What are we doing? Grayson Halton is fine. Carver Willis is a huge overdraft. Ephesians Prysock is fine. And then Jaden Duggar and Enrique Cruz are just whatever. I did not like this at all. And to be fair, I do think Dejon Stribling and Kalen Black in a few years will be good players for them. So I can't give this an F. Like, it's not like they got no value, but it is damn near as close to that for me. I don't know what the 49ers were doing. They needed a ton of good depth in this class, and I don't think they got any of it, man. And I would have gone about this way differently. I think this is just going to be a bad class for John Lynch, and it does not look good with some of the history of some of his picks he's made.
When my favorite pick is Ephesians Prysock, I think we probably have.
Yeah, no, we definitely have a problem. It's not good. And do you have anything else to say?
No,
it's just bad. What did you give them again? Sorry, you said D+?
I gave them a C, but they're my 30th ranked class out of 32.
Oh, yeah, just bad. Yeah. So you want to talk about the Seahawks? Or yeah, is it mine? I think.
Yours, yep.
Okay. So they started with their 1st-round pick, Jadarian Price, running back out of Notre Dame. They then took Bud Clark, safety out of TCU, Julian Neal, corner out of Arkansas, Bo Stevens, guard out of Iowa, Emmanuel Henderson Jr., wide receiver out of Kansas, Andre Fuller, corner out of Toledo, Devin Eastern, defensive tackle out of Minnesota, and Michael Dansby, corner out of Arizona. I'm going to be honest, I hated this draft. It's a D for me. Man, fall from grace for the Seahawks because they lost a ton of key contributors. Not a lot of stars, but I mean, you look at guys like Tariq Witherspoon. No, they signed him. No, they lost him.
Tariq Woolen.
Tariq Woolen, did they lose? They lost him, right? Yeah. Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, I don't know why. It's the same color scheme, so I don't know. Maybe that was throwing me off. I mean, you lost Boye Mafe, Tariq Witherspoon. No, Tariq Woolen. Jesus Christ. You lost Kenneth Walker. Like, that's your Super Bowl MVP. Oh, my mouse just died. Sorry. Give me a second. Am I still being heard?
But yeah, I can hear you.
All right, well, I might just. Yep, sorry, you can hear me now. Sorry for that. But you just lost so many contributors. We're talking about Boye Mafe, Tariq Woolen, Kenneth Walker, and then you had like your wide receiver core, which I didn't like. I thought they should have added to it. Like Cooper Kupp was bad this year and was only getting worse. Dude, they did not restock any of these players. Jadarian Price is, I don't even know if he's half the player Kenneth Walker is. I know we both did not like him, and like, man, bro, he is an Achilles injury. Like, he's not even like the super safe pick. Like, I don't think he's that good, and then he's also not that safe, and they needed a ton of value out of this pick. They should have traded out of it. I mean, Bud Clark is fine, but I thought like, he's your Kobe Bryant pick. He's your Kobe Bryant replacement, but like, he's not Kobe Bryant. So, out of all the positions they lost, they replaced Kenneth Walker with a way worse version of him. They replaced Kobe Bryant with a way worse version of him. They replaced Tariq Woolen with Julian Neal, which I actually like. That's my favorite pick of it. Like, I actually think that's fair. And then like Bo Stevens is fine. And then every other pick is just like Emmanuel Henderson is a straight special teamer. He's not going to give them the value which they should have had at this pick, in my opinion. I think they could have gotten a better wide receiver. Everybody else is just fine. I mean, shout out my boy Devin Easton in Minnesota. Their only Minnesota draft pick. But, like, I just think, like, you still have this huge hole at edge. I think you lost value at the running back position. I mean, your wide receiver room, man, they better hope that dude out of Colorado State steps up. Why am I blanking on his name? He's, like, their wide receiver for Torrey Horton. They better hope that Torrey Horton steps up, because otherwise it's kind of just Jackson Smith and Jigba and friends, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I didn't really like this draft. I gave it a C+, which for me is below average. Jadarian Price, we both were there when they made that pick, did not like that pick at all.
Hated that pick. No, he should not. Dude, I don't even know if he should have been a second, to be honest.
I don't think he should have. I don't think he should have. Bud Clark, I don't think should have been a second-round pick either. Julian Neal was an excellent pick. That was their one really good pick.
I do agree.
Draft. Bo Stevens, they traded up to get him. Not good. Emmanuel Henderson, like what? I don't really know. Andre Fuller is fine. Devin Eastern is fine. Michael Dansby, never heard of him. Like, this whole draft just screams mediocrity, and like Julian Neal will be probably pretty good, and that's about.
That saved them from a D-, to be honest. Like, is the fact that I actually think you upgraded from Tariq Woolen with Julian.
That saved them from, for me, it would have been at least a C-, maybe a D+. I did not like this draft for the Seahawks.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wish they would have done so much more. I would have drafted way different players. I mean, like, you know who you could have replaced Boye Mafe with? I don't really know how much of a fit he is, but you could have drafted like TJ Parker. And damn, the idea of him is scary on the Seahawks. And instead they did it with somebody who is like, I don't know. I don't really love that. But yeah, you want to go from a really bad draft to a really, really good draft. I think it's your turn, right?
It is my turn, and it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yeah, they had a really good draft. They took Ruben Bain, edge out of Miami, with their 15th pick. And then Josiah Trotter, linebacker out of Missouri. Ted Hurst, wide receiver out of Georgia State. Keontae Scott, corner out of Miami. DeMonte Capehart, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Billy Schroth, guard out of Notre Dame. And Bauer Sharp, tight end out of LSU. This class is great. This is a really good.
Yeah, this is my favorite draft, easily. Just like straight up. If I could give it an S tier, it's an A+. If I could give it S, it would be. This is Jason Light just showing that, it's amazing how Jason Light, Howie Roseman, two guys that they stick with their picks. They take the best player available, it seems like, every time, and they build insanely good teams. And everyone's like,
what? When you follow consensus. Oh.
Yeah, it's like you have hundreds of experts who view players this way.
Yeah.
And then you have these GMs who think they're smarter than everybody else, and they trade back and they get value with that, or they take guys off consensus. Jason Light notoriously just takes the best player available at a position of need, and every single year it's the reason he walks away with studs like Emeka Egbuka. And this year, I mean, like, you get Ruben Bain. I mean, are we fucking serious? At 15?
That is the best first-round pick.
They needed edge so bad. They got debatably the best player in the class. at that position. One of the most valuable positions, too. This, like, honestly, right now, this is easily my defensive rookie of the year pick. Easily. He is no one. I mean, it's Kalijah Cansey, but then it's this guy feasting. They aren't going to be able to consistently double Ruben Bain, and I don't care that his arms are short. You watch the tape, bro. He is beating triple teams. He's getting 3-sack games against college football playoff teams. Him and Akeem tore it up for Miami all year. And, like, you get this player at 15, and then guess what? Their second position that they need a linebacker. They get the best run defending linebacker in Josiah Trotter. Ted Hurst, I don't love, but to replace Mike Evans as a project, I think is great. This is a great spot for him. Keontae Scott, I mean, bro, their run defense, the floor of their run defense just rose multiple levels.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Josiah Trotter, Ruben Bain Jr., and Keontae Scott.
Who's running
like
this?
Nobody, dude. And then they already have guys like Vita Vea and Antoine Winfield Jr. Bro, you're a running back facing the Bucs. You have to get past Vita Vea and Ruben Bain, Josiah Trotter, and then if you're lucky enough to break off from those guys, you are met with Antoine Winfield Jr. and like Jacob Parrish in the slot too, Keontae Scott in the slot. I mean, they instantly have the best slot room in the NFL with Jacob Parrish and Keontae Scott. Easily. Like, the value that they just got, I only wish that this team wasn't coached by Todd Bowles. That's the only bad part. They should have fired him and kept Liam Cohen or Dave Canales, whatever. I mean, the fact that you get value in DeMonte Capehart as a rotational defensive tackle, Billy Schroeth is a potential starting guard, and then they even address tight end in the 6th and somebody who I think is fine. Dude, they killed every single one of their needs and just simply took the best player available. And they walk away with a haul. Multiple starters, so much depth.
Dude,
and they instantly...
On top of that, they get the most athletic defense.
Yes.
Quite possibly a starting guard in the 5th round as well.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you took your edge and your linebacker, which were some of your worst positions. They were their 2 biggest needs. And you add Ruben Bain and Josiah Trotter. Right there, man. Jason Licht just kills it again. He might be my favorite GM in the NFL, honestly. It just feels like he doesn't really trade his picks ever, and he just takes best player available. It works out every year, man. The Bucs have had a consistently talented roster for, it feels like, 10 years, and it feels like they're going to be good for so long. I mean, they get value out of, like, Tez Johnson last year as a 7th-round pick. Like, he just does it again, man. They get an S tier for me. And I just love what Jason Licht did here.
I gave it an A as well. The max grade I gave was an A.
Yeah. And you want to move to the Titans now?
Yeah.
All right. So they took Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State, Keldrick Falk, edge out of Auburn, Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker out of Texas, Fernando Carmona, guard out of Arkansas, Nicholas Singleton, running back out of Penn State, Jackie Marshall, defensive tackle out of Baylor, Pat Coogan, center out of Indiana, and Jaron Kanak, tight end out of Oklahoma. This class was very polarizing to me because I feel like they got a lot of good players, but once again, kind of how they handled it wasn't great, and I would have done a ton of things differently, a lot like the Giants. To me, this class is a C- simply because it's just I don't think this was an average draft. I think it was worse than an average draft. How did you view this draft class?
I viewed it as
okay.
I think it's
I mean, Carnell Tate at 4. It's funny because I did not like Carnell Tate to consensus, so obviously this pick is like way worse to me. I think they actually make up for it later in the draft, but like to start your draft with Carnell Tate
is a bad start.
I just even the people that loved Carnell Tate, is he ever living up to the value of this pick? No one Carnell Tate. I don't think will ever have like a 1,400-yard, 10 touchdown plus season. And he's primed to be that in this system. I just think he is a wide receiver too. I don't think he's higher than that. And you take this player at 4. I mean, I get it. Like, what do you do here? This was a hard pick for the Titans to make. Love's not here. And it's like, even if you do, you're taking a running back or you're taking like Sonny Styles as a linebacker. I get it. The value of this pick was hard to nail. I personally would have traded out of this pick and probably taken Jordan Tyson later, who I just think is better. But I don't. How did you view this, man? I just think it's I don't think he will ever live up even close to this pick, and even the people that liked him don't think that. So
like a C+. I mean, I think he is a good receiver, obviously, and he's a first-round talent for me. But taking him at the 4th, I don't.
Dude, his best season in college, where he was in a prime position. He had 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. Does that scream fourth overall? I am sorry, that's ridiculous. And this is just a bad pick because you see the people who love Cardinal Tate still having trouble with this pick. I don't. He is not the wide receiver one in this draft, and even if you like him, you do not take him here. I'm unapologetically like, this is a bad pick.
Yeah.
Keldrick Falk, you get a top 10 player for me, but I don't understand why they took him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, they traded for Jermaine Johnson. They paid John Franklin Myers a ton of money. They already have this player twice. Obviously, I think Falk has way more of a ceiling than both of them. But like, what did we traded and then we invested a ton of money? Why did we trade up to get Keldrick Falk when we did not need him? I don't like the fit. I love the player. I don't like the fit. Anthony Hill Jr. actually don't like the player, but love the fit. Like, if anybody like this guy's ceiling getting tapped into with Robert Saleh, I love.
Really good.
Love that. And then, it's just kind of a C- for me because I think you kind of butchered the first 2 picks in scheme and value. And I didn't really like anybody else from this draft. I mean, Jackie Marshall's fine. Pat Coogan's fine. But, like, these are 6th-round picks. I think Fernando Carmona and Nicholas Singleton I'm not a big fan of. And I just think, like, the Titans didn't get much better. Like, I honestly think they stayed kind of the same, to be honest, after this draft. Like, yes, Carnell Tate gets a weapon who I think is a good wide receiver too, and they don't even have that, so that's something, but I don't know. I just wish I would have handled this way differently, just straight up.
Well,
it's horrible. Horrible. Yeah, not a big fan of Tennessee. I think they will be very bad next year, and this was not the process that they should have done, in my opinion. I think Cam Ward is being set up to struggle. Like, they didn't take O-line either. Their O-line's not great, dude.
I mean, they took Coogan and
5th and 6th round picks. Yeah, whatever. It's a C-. Honestly, it's probably closer to a D+ draft for me. I just think you really failed to take the successful step that you should have. Did you want to talk about the Commanders' last team for us here? Yes, you.
Yeah, so the Commanders only had 6 picks, but with those 6 picks, they took Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State, Antonio Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson, Joshua Josephs, edge out of Tennessee, Katron Allen, running back out of Penn State, Matt Gulbin, center out of Michigan State, and Ethan Kaliakmanis, quarterback out of Rutgers.
Former Gopher great, except he wasn't great for us ever, so never mind.
I'm going to be honest.
I tend to agree. With how little they had, I liked what they did.
First 5 picks were all A- plus for me. Like, I really like all the picks. Sonny Styles, A+. I think he was my number 1 prospect in this class, fell to 7th.
Yep. You get him at 7, that's great.
Antonio Williams, I think this is actually one of the better scheme fits for him. I
agree.
Playing in the slot for the Commanders is going to be where he's going to thrive, and I think this is a good pick. Joshua Josephs in the 5th round, that's an A+ pick for me.
Insane.
They needed edge. That is an awesome pick. He is super productive in Tennessee. He's going to come in and probably do the same thing.
21% pass rush win rate.
Yeah.
In the 5th round.
They might have just got an instant starter in the 5th round. And then Katron Allen, I think he raises the floor of your running back room as well. I think he's really solid, and you got him in the 6th round. I mean, this is a really good draft for the Commanders. I mean, Matt Gulbin and Ethan Kaliakmanis are whatever. But the first 5 picks I really like.
So what is it for you grade-wise?
4 picks, sorry. A.
Okay, I gave this draft a B.
Okay.
I will say they did better than I thought they were going to with how little value they got. Obviously, the Sonny Styles pick, home run. I mean, you get my number 1 overall player at 7. Like, this is the perfect fit for Sonny Styles. And, bro, they needed, like, funnily enough, a commander of the defense. They got him. I mean, this dude is literally everything you want. As close to a perfect prospect as I think you're going to get. Him and Bobby Wagner. You know what's crazy is Bobby Wagner's going to mentor this dude up. I don't even know if he needs it, but, like, damn. Sonny Styles with 1 year of Bobby Wagner. Is Bobby Wagner on the team? Am I tweaking?
Yeah, he is.
He is. Yeah, that's what I thought. Love that. Antonio Williams, I'm going to be honest, like, I can't love the pick when I 10 out of 10 times would have taken Skylar Bell here. I think he's just way more versatile and just way better overall. But, like, funnily enough, if you take Joshua Josephs where Antonio Williams was, and then Antonio Williams or Joshua Josephs get taken, I love that process, so I'm not going to hit on that a ton. Katron Allen, I mean, you have Chris Rodriguez, you have Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and then you signed the running back out of Tampa. Wow.
Rachaad White.
So, I mean, yeah, Katron Allen's what? Your wide receiver or your running back 3, 4? This team had way too many needs to take K-Tron Allen here. Just, I'm going to be honest, I hate that pick. Matt Golban is solid O-line depth. I don't mind it. I actually think Golban's underrated. I probably would have taken him in the fourth or fifth. And Kaliak Manis, I don't really know what we're doing here. They already have Marcus Mariota. I guess, like, he has good mechanics. That's kind of it. It's the seventh round. I can't hate a ton, but, like, this team's just so old and bad in a lot of areas that I think, even when you lose slight depth like that and slight value, it's still bad. So it's a B for me because, I mean, you come away with my number one overall player. You get Joshua Josephs and a steal. And Antonio Williams, I think, actually makes a decent amount of sense. So I can't hate it. But, yeah, just a B for me. I think they did pretty good. And with what they had, like I keep saying that, but with what they had, I think they did get better as a team. So that's valuable. And I don't really have anything else to say about them.
I think we basically covered it a lot. I gave it a day. I think they smashed the first three picks out of the park, and I think K-Tron Allen was a solid addition to the running back room. They must think that he could be a top 2 or 3 running back on the team if they're taking him in the 6th round. So yeah, I think we covered every team.
Yeah.
All the classes.
It was a great year. It was a super interesting draft. Gonna be honest.
Really interesting.
I was entertained. I'm super hyped for next year, man. I mean, like, I'm already getting, like, Colin Simmons and Dylan Stewart highlights on my page. I'm like, oh, boy. Next year's quarterback class looks insane. I think I'm going to really love guys like Dante Moore, Lenore Sellers. It feels like this class was lacking for a lot of teams. So next year, man, I mean, Jeremiah Smith, Cam Coleman, Ryan Williams, come on. Come on. That's just too good. But, yeah, this is probably, like, the wrap-up of our 2026 season. Obviously, in the future, we might revisit these and see what grades we gave these teams and, like, how these rookies were doing based off of where we had them consensusly. But outside of this, we're wrapping up this year in this class. So if you have anything to say with it, I mean, it was a fun year. It was a fun start. I know we didn't get to everybody, but I really loved that this is our first class. I thought it was really good for us.
I think it was definitely a good starter class, good to practice on.
Mhm.
We're going to hopefully be able to...
Ooh, you know what I think we should do? I think we should do, like, early scouting on all the guys, all the groups, just kind of some players we like before we do a mock draft. And then maybe, later in the summer, we do a way too early 2027 mock after we have a feel for every position. But yeah, I think right away we're going to go into college football, NFL coverage, and then early draft coverage for you guys, man. We'll still upload probably at least once a week. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the 2026 season and, the start of our journey on this channel. So
it's been really fun, and
it has been.
Like I said, the last video, we both me and Cam have busy schedules. We put in a lot of time to this. We've had a lot of fun, but we'd appreciate if you guys like, subscribe. I mean, today I put in 3 hours.
Yeah, man. Isaac's been grinding, guys. It's been awesome, and I have been too. It's been hard, but I love it. I think we're only gonna get better, man. If you guys like this, Isaac's been cooking with the overlays. I think we're only going to have more time. We were kind of rushed with the end of this class. We're only going to give more insight, have bigger, I hope my big board next year is over 200 players. I really do. I won't, like, my degree will be done by first semester this year. So I'll have all of kind of winter before the draft to pretty much just work and scout. Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. And 2027, man, it's going to be a great class. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. And stick around if you want to see more of this content as we cover this next year of just football in general. So
yeah, this has been the Neutral Zone, and thanks for watching this long form video, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.